I'm sure by now all of you have heard of dead internet theory. I don't think I need to really dive into what it means, but fundamentally, it boils down to the idea that the things and the people that you see or interact with online aren't actually real, it's bots, and upcoming AI. Now, Meta has just publicly announced that they are doing their best to make dead internet theory not just a theory, but the reality. They proudly announced, like it's a Jeff Keighley world premiere, that they will be flooding, really, their platforms with AI generated users that will share AI slop with the humans that are still left in those plagued wastelands. This isn't some wacky conspiracy that some snot-nosed, paint-huffing weirdo cooked up randomly. This is an actual upcoming change that Meta themselves announced. We're getting this fart straight from the butt, the source. I talked about it for quite a while on stream last night. I'll show you some clips of that, but I've been thinking about it a lot ever since because the question kept coming up in stream, why would they even announce this? What is it for? Like, what are they actually even hoping to achieve through flooding their platform with fake users? Because it is such an odd concept of something to be proud of. It clearly runs counter to what the whole idea of social media was supposed to be. A way of connecting to others and experiencing the world through information and content from others. It's social media, but this is becoming more programmed media. So I thought about it some more, and I think I have some more theories on beyond the obvious of like bigger number equal more money, and also being able to control the narrative through just brute forcing a narrative with a bunch of bot accounts that people might not be able to tell if it's AI or actual human beings. I think there are a couple more things that they're hoping to achieve through having the platform be bots. Why would Meta admit to using AI? Well, because these companies view it as a really positive thing. This isn't like some kind of dark secret to them. They're proud about it. So, their vision is drumming up engagement on their platforms through AI accounts. So what they want to do is fill it with AI generated characters. They want to fill it with profiles and bios that will all be sharing AI generated content with its users to the point where people won't know if they're communicating with a person or AI. And they are so out of touch that they view that as a really good thing for their platform. So we expect the AI to actually, over time, exist on our platform kind of in the same way that accounts do, according to the vice president. They'll have bios and profile pics, and be able to generate and share content powered by AI on the platform. That's where we see all this going, which is like the worst possible direction for anything to go. So the internet is going to be a wasteland full of bots rather than 50% bots. Nothing changes. No, I mean a lot changes actually. Right now, I've quoted this a lot, and I can't even remember the official source anymore. It's been so long, but the last estimates from how much of the internet is occupied by bots versus humans was something like 60% is bots. So you're more likely than not interacting with a complete, not real person anytime you're talking to somebody online, and the content you're consuming is coming from something instead of someone. Can someone explain why? So, I'm going to be honest, I don't really see how they view it positively, but the benefit they will get is by having all of these AI accounts, their engagement numbers are going to be much higher, which is going to drive the value of their companies up. By being able to boast more users and boast more engagement and keep people glued to the platform, it's going to make the investors more satisfied. It's going to make things on their end more profitable. I think one of the big things that they're not going to say here, but I think one of the big things they want to do is through these AI accounts, which they will obviously have full control over, they can kind of change the narrative around anything they want. For example, Meta doing some weird bad shit and people start talking about it, well, they can have all of these bots accounts that now inhabit the platform start spamming really meta positive shit and debunking the stuff that's critical of Meta. So through all of these AI accounts, they can kind of drip feed what they want for whatever narrative they want. Because they'll be able to boost those numbers up super high and start burying the real ones. Which is something you already see that used to happen a lot on Reddit. I think it happens just as much, but they made this big thing about how they're combating it, but I think it still happens just as much on Reddit and Twitter. So I think that's kind of like one of their big things. But the main thing they're boasting is that it's just going to be really good for engagement with fake accounts. One idea that I only briefly fondled the sack of was the concept that the AI could also be used as a tool by these platforms to keep people hooked on their drug, keep them trapped on there through fake interactions. So let's take a hopeless loser, for example, someone that is just unlovable. It's a guy who's a Jack Doherty fan. They freak out at fast food workers if they feel their large fries at filled to the brim. They call their own mother a femoid. Just someone that doesn't have anyone in their life, and they go on Instagram. Sure, there's no doubt this homunculus will doom scroll some reels for a little while, but after a period of not getting any interaction with anyone or anything, they'll leave and just go be lonely elsewhere. But now imagine, when this rolls out, Meta's going to have all of these AI accounts that are going to be interacting with someone like this. So now you take that same troglodyte, and now you have him make a post that instead of getting 0 likes, now gets 20 likes from these seemingly real-looking accounts that are all AI. And he'll click on them, and he might not know they're AI because they're going to have their own profile pics, they're going to have their own bios, they're going to have their own posts that are not real, but it's going to be convincing enough that it is. So now all of a sudden, this guy who's got nobody has AI that's interacting with him on this Instagram platform, and it's going to make him more likely to stay on there and interact and engage with it. So they're going to retain people longer through this program because it'll give someone like this the sense that they're connecting with someone. So they're going to be more likely to want to stick around because now they are getting interaction. They are getting some kind of engagement out of it. This guy isn't going to have anyone naturally talk to him. No breathing human being with a pulse is going to speak to a guy like this. But AI can. I have no doubt these AI accounts will also be DMing users. So you'll have this guy get a message from Phil Cheeseburger that'll say something like, "Brother, I just saw your most recent post. That is so insightful. I never stopped to think about that. You're right. 2D waifus are better than 3D cringe." And now we've got this loser who's now interacting with Phil, who he thinks is a real person. They're talking back and forth. And now you've got this guy on your platform longer through a complete fake connection that has been made thanks to these AI accounts. He's seeing ads from your advertising partners more often because now he's more intertwined with this ecosystem of bots. Like what I'm getting the impression of that Meta is creating is an ecosystem that doesn't need humans on it. It's making a network of AI that hopes to keep humans on there through all of this phony baloney shit. It's so sad. Like, it is so dystopian, and I know that word's lost so much meaning, but this really is a dystopian step. It's craziness. Let's just keep playing around with this for a moment. So this loser now has Phil, and he's got some other AI accounts that are reaching out to him as well. He's got, George Hamhawk that's saying similar things. And over time, as he's like connecting with these AI that he might not even be aware is AI, I imagine that's going to be a thing where people are going to be confused on if they're communicating with someone real or a fake AI account. But over time, these AI accounts will start maybe subtly influencing the way that this loser thinks through AI drip feeding the narrative that the platform wants the users to be fed. So they can help control, like subtly brainwash people through all of these AI accounts. It is a really fascinating and fucking terrifying concept for a platform that is just going to openly flood its users with AI accounts. Because it's preying on people, like their desire to not be alone. Like, I think, at least with this concept I'm toying with. Because, again, nobody likes to post something and have 0 people see it, and Meta knows that. And the solution to that problem is to have fake people see it and pretend that people are seeing it. So now they're creating that feeling of I'm being seen, and then they start connecting with those bots, and it just spirals so out of control, and it is a horrifying future. Why would any advertising agency buy into that? I don't know. I actually don't know. Like, to me, you're being very open that you're just gonna flood it with AI fake engagement. Thus, those new numbers aren't going to translate to more sales for your advertising partners. So to me, it just seems like you're defrauding them. To be honest, like I don't know. I don't get it. Fake customers are fake customers. Yeah, but fake customers aren't buying it. AI is not going to be purchasing a waifu statue. Like, it's not going to lead to more sales for their advertising partners, even though the price of their advertisements is going to go up because the engagement numbers have gone up. I thought of it more as fake customers leaving good reviews on stuff so real customers will buy it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's very possible. Instead of paid shills, they could just do AI shills, which would save them money. Now scammers no need to operate their own bots, just use AI. That's already happening. AI bots and everything are already very prevalent. I'm sure some of you have already seen them around in like YouTube comment sections. This is just the first company that's just being forthright, letting you know the whole platform's going to be infested. Yep, United Healthcare uses AI to deny claims. I did see that. AI is being utilized in a lot of different sectors right now. The AI topic is one that stretches into every possible discussion because it is technology that will be in every single sector. It's going to be everywhere. There's a lot of people that naysay it and poo-poo on that, like I understand, but you're wrong. AI is going to be used by every corporation in every single industry to some degree. Some worse than others that is going to be using to outright just replace jobs. Just do their best to get rid of workers because it's going to be cheaper to not have to pay them and just use AI instead, which is something I and everyone else on the planet has been discussing pretty much fucking daily since this technology's been evolving so rapidly. But now it's not just replacing jobs, it's literally replacing humans on social media platforms. I mean it when I say there is nothing that is safe from AI, not even just like, it's faking being a person now. Like, Meta is making a push for AI to just outright replace humans in general on social media. Like, that's not even a job of just shitposting while on the toilet, and yet it's still going to be trying to take that. It's actual insanity. So yeah, I just had to talk about this a little bit. That's it. So yeah. I was going to wait a little bit longer before fully diving in on this, but I've talked about it on stream, tickling the subject here and there, with Elon Musk's weirdest lie so far about being a Path of Exile 2 top player. For as long as I can remember, Elon has always touted himself as basically a gaming god, where anytime he picks up the sticks, he becomes one of the best to ever do it. And he's been trying that with Path of Exile 2, puffing out his chest, popping his collar, letting people know that he has one of the top characters in the game. Which he does, except it's very clear from the live stream he did, it's not actually his character. He has one or a team of people that actually pilot this character, and they just give him permission to go on the account to flex it. It's not a hurricane machine conspiracy theory, it is beyond a shadow of a doubt true that Elon Musk does not play this game. His account that he showed is definitely not played by him. And it's very clear through the live stream, which we'll go through in a moment, because Quinn made a great video breaking it all down to show just how obvious it is.
So let's start off with some context. Elon Musk's character is currently level 97, aka rank 12 on hardcore, that's permanent death mode. Currently, what is their highest ranked player? They're level 97, same as Elon Musk. So, I mean, he effectively has been playing, pretty much just doing nothing except playing Path of Exile. So let's just go over some of the things that happened.
The reason I wanted to wait a little longer before diving into the spaghetti and meatballs of this is because I wanted to see Elon's response to it, because I know he's seen it. He is more addicted to social media than an Overwatch gooner. He is glued to this shit 24/7, so I am confident he is well aware that the entire gaming community is privy to his fraudulent claims of being one of the top Path of Exile players. And I just wanted to see how he would tackle that. Because his responses are always glorious. It's always the most cringe shit imaginable. Where he posts like an AI photo of himself as Iron Man. I am Irony Man. You call yourself the Joker, yet you can't take a joke. Ironic. And I wanted to see him do some garbage like that for this, but he hasn't yet, and I just really want to talk about it because it is so clownish.
And he opens up his bank, and he goes to a tab called Elon's Maps, which immediately is a little bit of a red flag because I don't know why you would refer to yourself in third person, but okay, he does that. He then proceeds to walk up to his map device and go to put a map in. The literal first thing you learn upon getting to the end game is how to operate this map device. You're going to start off at a node, and then from that node, you can go to adjacent connected maps. Now, Elon, he's trying to click.
Oh, he's trying to do the map that's not in the chain.
He's just clicking a map repeatedly, trying to access it. He was not eligible to enter that map.
I just want you guys to understand, this is one of the highest level hardcore characters in the game. He would have played thousands of maps at this point.
I don't know how many of you have ever subjected yourself to the torture of trying to watch an Elon Musk stream, but they are agonizing when he tries to stream a game. Because it's like 30 minutes of actual nothing burgers where he will sit there, AFK, and all you get is just background noise. The banging of pans, sounds like shit falling over. It's like listening to Legos exploding, and then he'll like occasionally talk, and he's still doing nothing, and then maybe he'll do like briefly one map. Watching Snoop Dogg stream when he left and just left it running for like a day was more entertaining than trying to sit through an Elon Musk Twitter stream. They're fucking brutal. So Quinn, going through this, cut out a lot of that, and when he's actually trying to play the game, he doesn't know what he's doing. So what he's showing here is he has that tab called Elon's Maps, which is a weird thing to do, but he's a quirky guy. Maybe he refers to himself in the third person. You could maybe try and conjure up some kind of argument there, because he is just so peculiar as an individual that he would do that. But the big smoking gun in this intro is that he doesn't even know how to use the in-game map. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, I'm not even to that point in the game, yet looking at that map, I can tell you what is and is not accessible just through the basic understanding of how games work. He is clicking on a grayed out node. He is repeatedly clicking on it, expecting something different to happen. It's fucking grayed out, goofball. You clearly can't go there yet. But he doesn't understand it.
Anyone who's level 97 is... And you know, we're talking one of the most efficient players in the game, period. There is no way you would do that. Why just like sitting there like some sort of geriatric old man clicking this node, expecting something to happen, and then he finally kind of gives up after a while and then realizes his mistake. We then get a look at his inventory. So Elon Musk is stuck going into the map and with full bags. If you're an efficient player, you're going to clear a map, you're going to loot the valuable items,
and you're going to sell the trash, keep the good stuff, salvage the bad stuff. Everyone knows that. It's not just being an efficient player, it's just being a player in general. Elon Musk goes into it with a full inventory. You don't have to be a Path of Exile player to know that that's pretty stupid. If you're playing a game that revolves around getting loot, why would you go in with no ability of collecting loot? It doesn't make sense. Unless, of course, you're Elon, who doesn't actually play the game and can't wrap his head around that concept that, you know, having a full inventory kind of defeats the whole purpose. You'd want to get rid of your trash. Or if all of that is just treasure, just absolute beautiful loot you don't want to part with, you'd put it in your stash. You wouldn't take it into the map with you because you need the space in your inventory. That is like actual basics. And he's already failing on the most fundamental aspects of playing not only this game, but any games even similar to it. It's actually a rookie mistake that I myself was making when I was first starting this game, where I was just taking unnecessary shit with me. I didn't realize just how quick and easy it was to just go store it or sell it. You can just click a single button, it'll make a portal to the town, and you can just sell it and then go right back through that portal to where you were. You don't lose any time or anything. It's not a hassle or a chore. And it's something that once you start playing the game, you become privy to. But Elon Musk doesn't really play this game, it seems. Yet, somehow has one of the top accounts in the whole fucking hardcore space. How odd.
So what I'm doing here is just boosting my shield before battle by meditation. Meditation before battle is always good.
And he starts killing monsters. He starts obliterating monsters with his character. But what becomes obviously apparent,
Chaos Orb, no loot filter.
is like, no, he's just running past Chaos Orbs. He just ran past the Chaos Orb.
Chaos Orbs are one of the most important currencies, and they're also really rare. I have about 140 Exalts. I have like 9 Chaos Orbs, just so you guys understand.
This fucking goober doesn't even have the wherewithal to loot one of the most valuable currencies in the game with a Chaos Orb. So I'm 30 hours deep. I've seen one. I've seen one in 30 hours. And he just runs right by it. He doesn't know the game at all. The only thing he loots are completely meaningless waystones. They're not fully meaningless, but for where he's at in the game, it's not what you'd be prioritizing for loot. But the reason he's clicking the waystones is because those are what's highlighted. Meanwhile, Chaos Orb wasn't highlighted, so in Elon Musk's little, like, caveman brain, not shiny, not need. So he just ignores it. He doesn't know the game.
It's unfathomable for someone to be in the top ranks without a loot filter. Yet Elon Musk, the god gamer, he doesn't play with a loot filter. The only thing Elon does pick up are maps, because the default in-game loot filter highlights those. Those things are worthless. The actual items of value that he should be picking up, that he would have had to pick up in order to get the gear, leave it on the ground. He gets to the boss, he's fighting the boss, and I want to say for about 10 seconds, he sits there and he's out of mana. Mana is a resource in this game where you need it in order to use your abilities. He just sits there, default attacking the boss without activating his mana flask. Anyone who's played the game and understands the character would understand, like, oh, I'm not doing any damage because I'm out of mana.
There's no explanation for him being bad at this character at this level. If he was the one that has been piloting it this whole journey, he would have mastered it. And what Quinn is pointing out is that he clearly hasn't. You can tell from his gameplay. When he's fighting this boss here, he is out of mana for an inexcusably long period of time. In Path of Exile 2, if you go out of mana, if you play League of Legends, you can immediately pop a mana flask and get it back to continue optimizing your DPS. He doesn't do that. His character is juiced out the wazoo, so he's able to get away with being so dog shit. But the fact that he doesn't pop his mana flask for like 10 seconds is crazy to me. And anybody who plays the game. It's not him being some kind of chess master galaxy braining this where he's being frugal with his mana. Well, actually, I made a calculation that it would be suboptimal if I had popped one of my fucking 20 mana flasks at this moment, because you wouldn't understand. I'm one of the top players in the game. I'm thinking, well, 5 steps ahead of you. It's just him just being bad. It's him being bad at this character, because it's not really his character. Whoever is piloting this account behind the scenes and boosting it lets Elon go on and do these really easy maps where even when he's super shit, he can get away with being bad and not be punished for it.
He then goes on to loot items off the ground. He starts dragging them into his bag. Like, I don't even know how to describe to you how painful that is to anyone who actually plays the game. And his bags are full and he just keeps clicking it over and over and over again. Nobody, not even people who are kind of noobs at the game, do this. I don't even think Elon Musk has done the campaign, honestly.
I also don't think he's finished the campaign, and I'm going to go a step further. I don't think he has ever really played an ARPG to a high level at all, including Diablo. Nobody, I mean actually nobody, is going to drag their loot into their bag once they spend any amount of hours in Path of Exile or Diablo or anything. No one's going to be doing that. That is a mistake that only your grandpappy would make if you sat him down to play this game, where you just slowly drag in the loot. Nobody fucking does that. So I really question the authenticity of his claims of being one of the top Diablo players through his own sheer blood, sweat, tears, and elbow grease and cum. I think something similar has been happening for him on Diablo, where he has people behind the scenes playing the game for him, and then he just goes on occasionally to do a couple maps to flex on Twitter streams.
You're also an innovator there.
Yeah, I've played a lot of video games.
You think about like StarCraft, any game where a lot of people are
Yeah.
playing. To rise to the top, you have to be exceptional, period, as
Yeah.
a human being.
Yeah.
There has to be something exceptional about you.
Yeah.
Are you in the top 20 in the world or
Yeah.
top 20 wow, in Diablo?
Yeah.
A ton of people are calling this into question now after watching the Path of Exile stream, because those are transferable skills. If you're really good at Diablo, you should at least be pretty good at Path of Exile. And he's just not. And he lacks the basic understanding of ARPG fundamentals. So how the fuck could he be one of the top Diablo players and be this clueless for Path of Exile? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't compute.
His settings on the map transparency are turned on by default. His life values are turned on. All these basic settings that anyone in the top 100 would do, he is not doing. Maps can effectively have different content on them, and that content will be signified by icons on the map. So it could be a map which has an expedition in it, a breach in it, or it could be corrupted. Elon starts looking through the atlas, and he finds a map with, I kid you not, 4 things on it.
There are 4 things there. So this one has a real risk of dying.
4 things. What are those things?
God, dude. 4 things. It's 4 things, dude.
You can't just write this off as him being lazy and trying to put it in layman's terms, because this stream of him flexing his Path of Exile 2 achievements isn't made for, you know, your uncle or something who's a big Elon meat swallower. This is like specifically catered to gamers. So it makes no sense that he would just write that off as just 4 things. And also, his settings make no sense for someone in the top 100. No loot filter and all of the basics still on. That's how I play. And I am nowhere near a top player in Path of Exile 2 at all. It doesn't work. That excuse of him just being lazy, it doesn't work. He could not achieve what he has in Path of Exile 2 with these settings and the way he approaches the game. It's clearly just not him that has got the character to this point. He doesn't know what those 4 things are, which is why he calls it that.
He then goes on to say, I kid you.
This is max difficulty on hardcore. If there's a way to get higher difficulty, I don't know what it is, but this is everything maxed out.
Path of Exile has boss fights and endgame bosses, which are quote-unquote difficult battles, which Elon actually did do in one of his streams, where he just went into the endgame boss and died repeatedly to it. Maps are just farming. You go into maps and you farm them for loot and experience. They're not the most difficult battles, and I don't know if he's trying to deceive people watching a stream into thinking that he's doing some insanely hard thing, whenever he's literally doing something you do to effectively grind or farm.
Listening to Elon talk about Path of Exile 2 is like listening to the out-of-touch writers in CSI, where they'd have things like, you have all the top scorers in every MMORPG ever. I am elite noob slayer. Like when they try and relate to gamers, that's Elon with Path of Exile 2. It's such a weird thing to lie about, because this isn't a cool thing to anyone that's not already playing Path of Exile 2, but anyone who plays the game would immediately recognize he's just making shit up and doesn't actually know what he's doing or saying. And it's just classic Elon. This is a max difficulty Turbo XL Super Arcade. In fact, I'm the only one that's unlocked this difficulty setting. And I just wish it was a little bit harder, because for someone of my intellect, it's just a bit beneath me. But yeah, this is maxed out difficulty on hardcore. You can see I'm breezing through it. I wish I could increase the difficulty a little bit just to stimulate myself a bit more. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm just too good for it. Like, the way he talks about this game, while clearly being clueless on it, he's actually infuriating. I can't fucking stand it.
And Elon Musk starts going over his gear.
This is a great staff, but it's only a level, 62 staff.
His weapon is, I kid you not, one of the best, if not the best staffs on the entire hardcore trade league. You cannot even buy it. Insane weapon.
Not only does Elon have a staff that you can't even buy, but it's so good that second best one, which is missing 2 of what makes a staff so powerful for an invoker, which is the crit and crit bonus, is still 20 divines, and that's obviously very expensive.
Here I am, like, level 95, but my staff is only level 62.
That is something that you learn pretty early on into the game, that the actual level of gear isn't the most important part about it. That's just the requirement to equip it. Quinn gave an example that one of the strongest, most meta builds at the moment uses a weapon that is level 1 requirement. A level 1. If Elon Musk had that on his stream, he would have probably blown a fucking gasket. He would have had a conniption, thinking that his boosters were doing a bad job. But they're doing such a good job that it has become blatantly obvious that Elon is not the one behind it at all. His weapon is nuts, yet he is fixated on it being level 62, thinking it's beneath him because he's a much higher level. He doesn't grasp the concept that it's not the level that makes the weapon good, it's all of the blue stuff there. you can't reach this point in the game without that basic understanding. You just can't. Like, he's talking like he needs to upgrade his weapon soon. Like, yeah, I need to get myself a better weapon, one that reaches my potential at level 95. But for now, this is getting the job done. I'm able to do all of this with such a low-leveled weapon. It's fucking insanity.
My helmet is level 56.
Int, lightning, and chaos resist. Okay. It's only 56.
Amulet level 61. Ring is only level 48, 49. At least a level 75 jacket.
It's a jacket with 6 things. Yeah, tell us how bad the item that only drops from the highest difficulty of the hardest boss. Just tell us that it's only level 52. Did you find this at level 52? That's impressive.
Level 52 here.
They can only ever be level 52. Bro, Elon Musk is a fucking fraud, bro.
Pretty low level compared to my character level, but it seems to work pretty well. In softcore, you can get much better equipment.
Seems to work pretty well is an understatement. He is a fucking force of nature with this gear. He is beyond juiced. The actual pilots of this account have done an extraordinary job of making an absolute deity with this gear here. And yet Elon can't recognize that because he's not the one that did it. He only mentions the item's level, the least important part about items in the game. And once again, the excuse of, oh, he's just being lazy and he's trying to put it in layman's terms so people can understand. People know, like, level 62 versus level 95. Well, no, because that doesn't work because the 62 is extremely good regardless of him being level 95. He could be level 1000 and that level 62 weapon is still going to be fucking unbelievable. Like, he just doesn't understand how the game works. He just doesn't. Like, if he didn't want to go into detail on everything for his gear during the stream, that's fine, but he is actively saying that the gear isn't really good because of its level, which is so false, it's laughable. That's why he is being giggled at by both Crip and Quinn during this, because he is beyond clueless as to what he's even looking at and what he's talking about. And from his gameplay, it seems he doesn't even really know how to play the game itself either. I would wager a guess he's maybe spent a couple of hours actually playing the game, but only, like, clearing maps. I don't think he has ever picked up a piece of fucking gear in his life or worked on a build or anything at all. I don't think he even knows how to use, like, skill gems or support gems or anything. I bet if you asked him to bring up, like, certain things, like explain why this gym is where it is, he would have no clue why. If he brought up his skill tree, he would have no idea what's even on it. And, like, if you asked him about trials, he would hit you with big fucking question marks or just ignore it and move on. He doesn't know the game. And he proved it with this live stream here. But the question needs to be asked, why? Why even lie about this in the first place? Again, this isn't something cool to people who don't play Path of Exile. But anyone who plays Path of Exile is going to recognize that you're a fraud. This is not your account. If he was honest about it, saying like, hey, I tried Path of Exile, I really liked it, but I don't have time to grind it, so I paid people to grind it for me, I think people would have a little bit more respect for that, as opposed to him cosplaying as one of the top players, pretending he's the one actually putting in the work and doing it, when he's definitely not.
And if you needed any more proof that Elon is 100% boosted, he was playing the game today inside of maps blasting while simultaneously on a X space.
Yeah, RIP. So Elon's account, Percy, did die, and in hardcore that is permadeath. And I'm not sure if it was Elon that died on it, or if one of the people he paid to boost it made a mistake while grinding. I'm not sure. But I love the idea that it was Elon who bit the dust on it and bought the farm, because the people that actually put the hundreds of hours into getting this account so juiced out the wazoo are probably fucking furious. Like, they set Elon's maps aside, which are very easy maps for him to clear for the sake of flexing on Twitter with this account that they're actually putting the work into, and yet somehow this bumbling buffoon still finds a way to die on this overpowered character, just reverting all of their hard work to zero. It's just a beautiful thought, because they set aside easy maps for him. And maybe he got a little too big for his britches. Maybe what happened is he saw all the people, calling him out for obviously not playing this game. He's like, okay, I'll put on my big boy britches and I'll do some hard content, and immediately just gets fucking washed. Like, just actually rinsed. I'm very excited to learn how exactly this account perished, because I feel like he'd probably mention it, like what happened? What went so wrong? But yeah, I wanted to talk about this a bit. It's such a weird, stupid thing to even lie about in the first place, and yet here he is, telling blatantly obvious fibs. He's got all the money in the world and all of the insecurity imaginable. He has this desperate, insatiable appetite for unconditional love from everyone, and in this pursuit makes everyone hate him through being just a lying cringelord. Like, this is such an unnecessary lie to even tell. He just wants to be viewed as the smartest person ever graced this fucking space rock that we live on, and the best at everything he even attempts to do, even when he's just not. He could have actually probably scored a ton of brownie points with gamers by saying, hey, Path of Exile 2 is a really good game, I'm learning it right now, watch me stream the early game content. And people probably would have actually really applauded that, because he's playing it on his own two legs here. He's playing and learning it, and that could have been a really easy way to relate to gamers. Like, hey, this game's great. I'm going to start learning to grind it. I'm not very good right now, but if you want to check out my early game, here's the stream. And I bet it would have been received far better than this dog shit. He is poorly playing an account that has never actually been piloted by him. But it's an account with a lot of prestige because it's so high ranked, and that is like the most appealing thing to Elon. It's just, it's nonsensical. He's so fucking cringe, it's crazy. That's about it. So, yeah. A few nights ago on stream, I watched a little bit of a video called I Got Divorced Over Yu-Gi-Oh! And I went into it, like lollipop and spinny hat, thinking it was going to be like good, silly fun. Like I thought it was like an exaggeratory title where he was telling a story about how his wife walked in like Seto Kaiba and ripped his blue eyes, and then he said, enough is enough. We'll play a shadow game to decide the fate of our marriage, and then they divorced or something. But the reality is, it's a very honest and open look at an unhealthy relationship, and it's one that I went back and finished the video for and have been thinking about since. So in a nutshell, this guy had a YouTube channel that was dedicated to Yu-Gi-Oh! And he was actually paying his bills through the content he was making. So it's not like this was a hobby that was destructive to him. He wasn't going out on the streets and selling his butt for Yu-Gi-Oh! Briefcases of cards. Like, he was making a living through Yu-Gi-Oh! And his YouTube channel, but his wife didn't really like it. She didn't have any respect for it, and it basically boiled down to he married like his number one hater. And she eventually wore him down enough to the point where he did abandon the hobby and his YouTube channel, because she just thought it was kind of cringe, I guess. Like, I'm not saying in every healthy relationship your partner has to, get into whatever hobby you're into, but at the very least, the bare minimum is being understanding and supportive of it. Like, I'm not saying she had to go out there and get a tier 0 deck or learn how to pendulum summon so she could start banishing assholes to the Shadow Realm, but maybe don't be constantly spitting and shitting on your husband for something that he's clearly passionate about and something that is actively making him money. I got divorced over Yu-Gi-Oh!
I need to say this. Let me just say it straight out the way. I am no longer married, and I'm divorced.
More time for Yu-Gi-Oh! You can grind. YCS pretty soon, I think. Can't remember when the next YCS is. But you got so much time now.
When I met this woman, and I told her about my Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff, she hated it. She didn't like it. She said that, hey, you can do something better with your life. You should go back to school.
All right, I hate that. Man, just let someone have hobbies. Like, who cares? It's not hurting anyone. Not hurting you. It's nerdy. Sure. Who cares? It's a hobby. I bet she had stupid hobbies too. Everyone does.
I said, you know what? Maybe she's right. And you know what I did? I sold all my equipment. I sold my YouTube channel.
Whoa.
I sold all my camera stuff. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is time to move on. Maybe it's time for me to do something better with my life. Not knowing that at that time, what I had was very special. At that time, something that I chose to do, YouTube, I gave it up because someone said, hey, you know what? Maybe it is time to move on. You got to do something better with your life.
There are times where someone's hobby is detrimental to them, whether it's financially draining or mentally draining. Like, that is a problem, and that's where you'd come in and say, like, hey, maybe it's time we look for something else, try a different path, and move on to something else. But that's not the case here. This guy had a channel, and his YouTube and Yu-Gi-Oh hobby were helping sustain him and pay bills. So her coming in there, fee-fi-fo-fumming around, marching up to him, saying like, you gotta move on, makes no fucking sense. Like, that's so stupid. Just basically saying it's time to grow up. You know, this is a children's card game. We don't do this as adults. It's time you be a real man, a real adult, and start doing crypto scams. Like, it's just silly.
And she's no longer here. And this problem persists. She told me at that time, hey, you want to meet my mother? You need a car. Because I didn't have a car at the time. I was doing YouTube. I was working from home. I didn't need to drive anywhere.
Chasing the dream.
Yes, YouTube is what I did for a living. It's how I paid my bills. And I was street performing also. How did I street perform? I just catch the bus 20 minutes down the street, played my horn, went home. I never needed a car. Even though I explained to her, this is what I chose to do.
Why did she even come into your life then? It sounds like she didn't respect your hobby. She didn't respect your drive, your passion, or anything. Why the fuck was she even here? Just to completely change you? That's sad. There's definitely a limit too. Like, if you're obsessed with a hobby and it's actually a detriment on your life, which it doesn't sound like it was for him, then I can understand someone coming in and be like, all right, look, maybe we need to reevaluate this. You know, maybe, collecting fucking, I don't know, jelly beans and putting all your money into antique jelly beans is, taking its toll. Maybe we should look at other things so you can get out of the house. You can start, finding something else. I get it. But it doesn't sound like it was to that point here. This is just sad. I imagine the channel was generating income. He just said he was paying his bills through YouTube and street performing. So he was making money. He was perfectly sustaining himself. At least that's the impression I get. She was probably embarrassed to tell her friends what he does for a living. Well, then don't be with him. If you're embarrassed of your significant other, why are you with them in the first place? That's on you. If you don't respect them, don't be with them. It's bad for both you and the partner. I feel like this probably happens a lot, although I've only seen it happen to one of my friends once, where he got with a girl that just really didn't like anything about him. Well, like, what are you doing there? Why are you choosing to be with this person if the goal is to change everything about them, to turn them into a blank canvas for you to paint on? That this doesn't make sense. Find someone that's more compatible with the things you like at that point. Like in this case, she comes in and she just doesn't like any of it. You're going to flush Yu-Gi-Oh down the shitter. You're going to go back to school. Honestly, it sounds like a mom that's trying to discipline their kid. Like, all right, no more Xbox. We're unplugging the Xbox and you're going to go to school twice as much now. Somehow. We're going to find extra school for you to go to. It's just so fucking toxic. This guy was doing just fine. He was providing for himself through his passion, through his ambition, his hobbies. But it didn't fit what she thought was acceptable. So she goes in there and tries to force him to do all of it, and unfortunately succeeds, where he does abandon his hobbies and his passion for her, for this relationship. And that just shouldn't have been a sacrifice that he was forced to make for the sake of the relationship. He didn't need to tribute summon his hobby in order to get his wife's appreciation for what she believes is an acceptable idea for an adult hobby. It was making money, it was paying his bills, and it's something he loved doing. Why change that? There's really no good argument I can think of for it. Sounds like she just hated Yu-Gi-Oh! She must have been more of a Digimon gal.
So, she hated those cards. She literally cried because of those cards. And people say, hey, priorities, man. It's your wife, or, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You tell me your wife was crying about Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
But then I'll be back at that point where I'm giving up things that I like, things that's a part of my life, for someone else to feel happy. And I feel miserable in the process. I love that. I miss that. Why can't she come along with my journey instead of scrutinizing me? And then that's money gone from me. It's not about the money, but that was money gone from me.
That was his career. Man, what a disaster. What a shame. Imagine your Yu-Gi-Oh passion being so epic it makes your wife cry. My husband has mastered the shadow games. Damn! Fuck! I'd want nothing more than my partner loving their job, man. I'd cry tears of joy. I imagine that's how it works in most healthy relationships, brother. I feel like it's kind of important to have, like, respect. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of basic. He triggered her trap card of divorce. Now, another thing I was thinking about when I went back and watched the whole video is that there is a time where a hobby becomes too consuming, where it starts straining the relationship. Like, maybe he was always fiddling around with those Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you know, by candlelight in like a dark room, and, you know, scratching at his neck for more Yu-Gi-Oh cards and ignoring his wife and letting the relationship start to crumble around him because it's always Yu-Gi-Oh all the time. But I don't think that was the case here. And you'll see why I think that in a moment, the more he explains about how it got to that point. And it's not all about Yu-Gi-Oh! He does talk about how a big part of his life has always been music and street performing, and even that wasn't acceptable to her or her parents, really.
I met the parents. They asked me, hey, what do you do for a living? I had to tell them I am a musician. I couldn't tell them I was a street musician. I am a musician. Then they said, hey, you have a degree? I said, I don't have a degree. My ex-wife parents did not speak to me for 2 years and told her not to marry me because I don't have a degree.
That's fucking brutal, and to me, it blows my little noodle because this guy was doing so fine on his own. He was paying all of his bills. He was living just fine with the money he was making through Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube content and street performing music. And he'll talk about it in a moment, he was making enough money where he could provide for both himself and his wife through those passions. Yet, they wanted him to just burn it all to the ground, fucking salt the earth, so he could restart with what they think is acceptable, which was going back to school to get a degree and getting a 9-to-5 job. Both things that he did do. Well, he got the 9-to-5 job and attempted school, but school wasn't working out super well for him. But he did everything for that relationship to try and make her happy and be like an acceptable partner in his ex-wife's parents' eyes.
So I give up this YouTube thing. I give up my entrepreneurial things. I try to do something that's not innately a part of my strengths at all because I'm thinking I'm in love to do something for somebody to prove something. So when we got married and we moved out to Baltimore to somewhere else that I didn't want to be, she said, hey, how come you're not paying the bills? And I was like, what? I have a job. I have a 9-to-5 job. I don't make enough from this 9-to-5 job to pay all these bills. Before then, I could street performing in YouTube. I made enough money off of that to pay the bills. Now I'm working 9 to 5 all day long, and that's not a complaint because there are people who do that. But I had something that most people wish they had.
He's right. He had the dream job. He literally had the wet dream most people wish they had, which is their hobby, their passion, being able to sustain them. So they don't have to do something that makes them miserable just to survive. And he says, like, he gave all of that up for her and this relationship, and that new shiny 9-to-5 that he got, all to please his wife because she believed that that was the only real way to grow up and, you know, move on from Yu-Gi-Oh! And street performing music. Well, that 9-to-5 couldn't pay the bills for both of them. And that's the unfortunate reality of where America is right now. I've talked about this a lot. The normal salary you make at like a 9-to-5, you can't fucking live off of that in like a 2-person household. That just, it's impossible. Things are way too expensive, especially in certain locations. It's just not happening. It's an absolute shame. It's a fucking crime. I'm not going to just rant about that. I've done that plenty on stream. He had a job that could do that. Like, he had a job people kill over. And she just didn't like it. Found it cringe, I guess. Wasn't proud of his hobby and that job that was making him money. So forced is the wrong word because he mentions as well, he made the choice. He ultimately chose to get rid of all of that for her. But she was pushing him to do it, and now he's miserable with this 9 to 5, and she's not happy because that 9 to 5 isn't able to pay all of the bills.
She says, hey, you need to find a hobby. I'm like, oh, let me play Yu-Gi-Oh again. So, last December, last year, I start my channel up again. I buy my channel back from Java. Like, oh, she gave me the okay to go into a hobby. You know what she said? You're spending too much time playing those cards. She says, why are you into those cards so much? I said, hey, I need to make a video about something.
After selling everything and starting over, he does eventually get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! To a certain extent where he picks up the hobby again, but his wife still just hates that the hobby he picked up was Yu-Gi-Oh! And YouTube. So he goes on to say how she just really didn't like it. That's when he gets into saying how she would like actually cry over Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's where I was saying, like, if it was completely consuming his whole life, where he was ignoring her and everything in the relationship was starting to just dwindle because he was too preoccupied with Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'd understand it. But from what I'm seeing and like going back to his channel, it doesn't seem like that was really the case. He was talking about how since he'd been away from the game for an extended period of time, he needed to relearn it. He needed to catch up on all the new things with Yu-Gi-Oh! So he could make content around it. So he'd be able to be knowledgeable on it, which is perfectly understandable, I'd say. And it doesn't seem like he took it to an excessive degree. It's his passion, it's his hobby, it's what he wanted to do, and it's what he was doing, so he wanted to get back to it. He recognized just how much of a gift being able to do that and make money off of it was, and he wanted that back. So he was getting back into the hobby. She still really hated it. One thing led to another, and now they're no longer together. And it seems like the big reason is because of Yu-Gi-Oh! The deeper issue is that she had absolutely no respect for his passion, and she wasn't supportive and seemed like was embarrassed of him. So it's two people that should have never been together in the first place. He gave up everything he loved to try and make her happy, but she was never really happy with the man that he actually is. So it's just very incompatible, and they tried to make it work, and it didn't work. And both people, I think, were not happy as a result of the relationship. Hopefully going forward, they both find better partners. Hopefully this guy's starting over on his YouTube channel. Luckily, he was able to buy it back. Hopefully he is able to find that success that he once had. And yeah, just kind of wanted to talk about it because I just found it to be one of the more honest videos I've seen on the platform about a subject like this. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Google is being sued for $2.5 decillion. That is probably a number you didn't even think existed. Like, that's more than a gazillion dollars. That's more than a more billion dollars. Like, this is an unfathomable number they are being sued for by Russia. To help put it in perspective, here's decillion compared to others that you've heard before, such as thousand, million, billion, or even trillion. And you can see trillion's not even halfway there. It doesn't even make a dent. It's estimated that the entire global GDP is 100 trillion, which is like 0.0000001% of what Google is being sued for by Russia. To put it in even more simple terms, 2.5 decillion is almost as many pounds as your mother weighs. It is crazy what they are trying to achieve with this lawsuit here. Shooting for the stars doesn't even cover it. You couldn't sell the Earth for $2.5 decillion to aliens. It's not even worth that much. If you took every dollar, every form of currency ever made throughout the history of our species, it wouldn't even come close to 1 decillion. I cannot stress enough just how absurd this number is. Like, Dr. Evil wouldn't even go for this. This is so far into the realm of lunacy that I don't think there's a single made-up villain who would even try this. At this point, it'd be like a fucking Phineas and Ferb character suing for infinity money. The lawsuit is over YouTube banning Russian media networks. Like, they banned a ton of Russian accounts and accounts associated with, like, the Kremlin and all of that. And the fine arises from Google's failure to comply with previous court orders mandating the reinstatement of these Russian media accounts on YouTube. The court warned Google that non-compliance would lead to compounding fines with no ceiling on the amount. starting at 100,000 rubles daily and the fines doubling every week until the channels are restored. This is what it feels like to play Magic the Gathering with someone doing doubling season token shenanigans. Like, this is just fucking stupid. The fines doubling every week? It's like a RuneScape scam. What the fuck? What incarnation? So, fundamentally, YouTube had banned a lot of Russian media accounts and accounts associated with the Kremlin and all of that. And Google has repeatedly cited sanctions compliance as the justification for suspending content from the channels, including high-profile networks like Tsargrad TV and RIA Fan. They argued that the media entities involved were under U.S. sanctions imposed in response to Russia's geopolitical actions since 2014. So fundamentally, Google is saying, hey, we had to do this because of these issues and these sanctions. Then in 2022, following the invasion of Ukraine, the subsidiary of Google that was operating in the region declared bankruptcy, and Moscow had seized more than 100 million from the entity. According to The Telegraph, Google said Russia handed the assets to sanctioned TV channels including Tsargrad, and that they seized more than 100 million of Google Russia's assets, even though the amount purportedly due under the judgment at the time was less than 12.5 million. So this has just been a back and forth butt fucking for quite some time now between Russia and Google. Now, Google in its latest earnings statement said, "We do not believe these ongoing legal matters will have a material adverse effect." To me, that sounds like they're saying, there's a lot of words here and we're not reading them. They're just going to ignore it. They're not even going to play ball with it for even a second. They're not entertaining the idea of a $2.5 decillion fine. They're just plugging their ears to it. Google has almost entirely ceased operations in Russia already. Like, they've almost fully pulled out from what I can tell. So it seems like they're just going to pretend that, you know, the tooth fairy's not real here and just not think about it. So this has been an ongoing battle here between Russia and Google, and this is just the most recent development in the anime. I don't think there's a single world where anyone actually looks at that number and takes it seriously. 2.5 decillion is comically large. There's not even that much sand on the planet. There are 7.5 sextillion grains of sand, and that doesn't even make a dent into 1 decillion. There is nothing on this planet that exists in that quantity, except maybe atoms. I think atoms is like 10 to the power of 50. Now, I can't imagine they're actually stupid enough to think that Google is somehow going to poop this shit out, 2.5 decillion anythings at all. That's impossible. I think this is just like a desperate Hail Mary to get some kind of money from it, like some kind of big fine from all of this. So they're just letting this number be as outrageous as possible. And they are trying to enforce these fines in other regions like South Africa, where they're trying to kind of come at Google from multiple angles, and then Google has been, in response, filing lawsuits to keep everything like localized to Russia. So it's been pretty messy. It has definitely been an interesting journey trying to get caught up on the lore of Google versus Russia. And I just had to dive in with both nuts here because 2.5 decillion, I had never even heard of the word decillion before. I thought that was just a made-up term. And it's not. It's so crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. Of course, I'm just a clueless Neanderthal, so I have no idea if this lawsuit has any real meat behind it, if it holds water at all. I didn't pass the bar, I'm not a lawyer. But from my uneducated perspective, it just sounds so fucking stupid. To be coming at Google for this amount of money over YouTube accounts being banned, I think is ridiculous. It's not like those YouTube accounts were going to generate anywhere near that level of money. Realistically, all of the YouTube accounts put together probably wouldn't have generated anything even close to $100 million, even if they were operational for 100 years. Like, I just don't understand where this number's even coming from. Like, I understand it's like the compounding fines where it doubles every week, but it's just made up, pulled out of their ass arbitrary nonsense. Like, can any YouTuber do that? Like, oh, my YouTube account was unjustly terminated. Google owes me $1,000 per day that it stays down and it's going to double every week. Well, based on what? Why? That's just a classic because I said so moment right there. I just don't see where they're getting this from. Like, why would it be doubling every week? Who made that rule? What referee came in there and threw the flag on the play saying that it needs to be doubled every week that they don't comply? Like, it just doesn't make sense. those accounts were never going to generate anywhere near that level of money for a daily fine that would double every week. That's just, that would never happen. So how the fuck can they possibly expect Google or any like reasonable judge to look at that and be like, oh no, that sounds about right? Again, I'm pretty sure it's just to be like intimidating and scary to settle for some kind of payment out of court, perhaps. But to me, this just doesn't seem to be like a lawsuit with a ton of punch behind it. Like, it really just doesn't seem like they have the strongest case to be coming at them for this amount of money. Now, it's worth mentioning, just like the end of a Marvel movie, it will return. This ticking time bomb hasn't stopped. It's still going, and it is still actively doubling. So it's 2.5 decillion now, but this might be the cheapest it'll ever be, because in a month from now, a year from now, we may be looking at new numbers that are going to need to be invented to figure out how much Russia is trying to hit Google for. Anyway, though, I just had to talk about it a little bit because it was so crazy, and I was diving into it pretty deep this afternoon. That's really about it. So, yeah. I very rarely go on Twitter these days, but sometimes I'll get the itch and I can't help but scratch it. And anytime I do wander into those woods, I don't find Winnie the Pooh with honey. I find chaos. The platform is just this perpetual powder keg that people are desperate to ignite. Even if there's nothing to be angry about, they'll make something up in their head to fight that ghost. They'll like put on an imaginary friend to insult and go ballistic over, which is exactly what I saw today over this post from chess.com. They said, accepting new name ideas for this piece, and it's a picture of the bishop. A pretty normal shitpost to any sane person who's not condemned to Arkham Asylum. It's engagement bait. It's a meme. I imagine most of you know by now, I'm not a big meme guy. I give most memes a 1 boom out of 5. I'm not a fan of engagement bait, so this isn't my favorite type of post by any means. But I'm also not a Neanderthal, so I'm able to recognize that clearly this is just a quick throwaway, light-hearted meme that was meant to just get people engaged and saying silly names in the comment section. They were expecting people to just leave silly names under there, just real goofy stuff, and have a bit of fun with it. Aha, Bishop, change its name to Fallopian Tube, change its name to Booby, or what about a shit piece, ha ha ha, like that kind of thing. And it's a meme they've done before on other pieces like the Rook. But oddly enough, the Rook has significantly less engagement than the Bishop. That's pretty curious. They thought they'd just be getting dumb names. What they got was a catastrophic war zone with meltdowns, crashouts, and bodies piling in the streets all over this engagement bait post because people perceived it as a political statement trying to erase Christianity from chess. I shit you not, a lot of the top replies to that post are people fighting to keep the Bishop name there, thinking that they're serious about changing its name, unable to recognize the very clear, obvious joke that I think even a toddler could pick up on. It's bad. Like, this is like Lord of the Flies, but everyone's piggy getting rocks dumped on them here. It's fucking tragic. Before going to the quote tweets, let's stay on the front lines here in the reply section. A ton of the top comments are basically this: I hate Jews so fucking much, man. Let me guess, you're Jewish. Even online chess is Jewish now. Crazy. And just shit like this over and over and over again. This is like the most common reply to anything on Twitter. If it's something someone doesn't like, you bet your sweet bippy the reply is gonna be like, damn you Jews! I was eating Cheerios this morning and I had one that wasn't a perfect circle. It's the fucking Jews trying to brainwash me again. Man, my cat went to use the litter box but just pissed outside of it. The Jews came in here in the middle of the night, burglarized my cat's bladder, and changed the trajectory of its pee to my floor. Jews, why? So I wasn't surprised to see that these were some of the top posts of the chess.com meme. That's just the Twitter bread and butter right now. That's like the signature special sauce. Fucking heavens to Betsy, yesterday I saw a post about a mother celebrating that her son graduated college, and the top reply just said, Jewish? Question mark. Anyway though, back into the trenches. They are bishops. Take your anti-religious nonsense back to Reddit. Please delete your account. How about we turn everyone who works for your garbage website into ground beef and feed you to Africans? You will never be able to erase our culture and history no matter how much you try. That's a big one that was repeated a lot. We invented chess and now you're trying to make it woke? Get out of here with that gay woke mind virus agenda. Go woke, go broke, checkmate. Tips Fedora. Up dudes to the left, kind stranger. I love that the checkmate was something they said a lot of. I think there was a real sense of like accomplishment with that, like very proud. First of all, though, we didn't invent chess. That didn't come from us. That came from India. Secondly, no one's making it woke. They're not actually changing the name of the bishop. It's a fucking meme engagement bait post they have also done for other chess pieces. Wake up! How can you be so soft? It's the bishop, you filthy rats. You want to rename the king to Comrade Stalin? Fuck your atheist gay race communism. That's the bishop. Forever will be. Amen, brother. As the bishop, it is gonna stay that way. Get your gay communists out of here. You want to take all this gay communism somewhere? You take it to the dump. Not on my sacred chessboard. That gay commie shit, that goes in the toilet and I flush it. That's what happens to the gay communism. The deconstruction of the Christian West lost at the ballot box. Fuck you guys. I'll just cancel my account if you try to pull this shit. Go fuck yourself and fire whoever recommended this idea and everyone who greenlit it. Fuck you. It's a bishop, and delete your Twitter account. It's 2025, we're not doing this anymore. Fourth Reich, 1,000 years, is still called a bishop. I know I mentioned we'd go through the quote tweets, but most of them are just kind of like this. The erasure of anything remotely Christian from society needs to stop. And then there's a couple of other quote tweets. There's a couple of other quote tweets that have like tens of thousands of likes, basically using it as a rallying cry, like, they're coming for us, they're trying to defeat us, we can't let them, we have to stand together. That kind of thing, which again isn't happening. There's no bishop name change coming in here in the chess patch notes. I can't believe we're at this point where that even needs to be said. And then there's a lot of cope from people that are being pointed out like, hey, that's not happening, you look kind of stupid for this kind of blow up over something that is clearly just a joke. They're like, well, it's a bad joke. Yeah, maybe they did it for the rook, but it's a drawn out shtick. They should have known that this is a terrible idea with the rook post. Well, why? The rook post didn't have anything like this on it. It was just clearly a meme. But people go on Twitter with, like, stupid eyes. Like, they go on there with actual caveman brain where everything they see, it has to be an attack on them. Like, how am I going to be a victim today? Holy fuck, chess.com said they're changing the bishop piece. Why, I oughta? I never. It's like, it's craziness. It's actual craziness that we're at this point now where now, even when they're pointed out like, hey, this was a joke, you know, it's not that serious, people will still just refuse to accept that and be like, nope, this is a stupid thing. Chess deserves all the backlash they get for daring to try and have a little fun with a stupid meme that they've done before with no issue. They should have known this one would be very contentious. You know, they had to have known this going into it. It was by design. It was once again an attack on me. They knew that. So they deserved the shitstorm they got. Just a fascinating thing to stumble upon here while checking the old cesspool this morning. I do fuck heavy with that statement, comedy is now legal on Twitter. Yeah, I guess so. Though you run a big risk because even just telling like the lowest level, lowest hanging fruit joke imaginable here about a chess piece turns into a massive controversy on the platform. It's almost poetic. Like, it's tickling poetry with that. Anyway, though, I had to talk about this a bit. It is so fucking over-the-top silly, I could not resist. But yeah, once again, the bishop isn't getting a name change anytime soon. No need to panic. That's about it. See ya. Doesn't matter if you've been living under a rock, I'm sure even Patrick Starr's gotten this news by now. PayPal Honey, a wildly successful browser extension used by millions, turned out to be a big scam, allegedly. Except it's not alleged, it is factually a scam, in my opinion. I think Honey is more of a scam than the shake weight. This shit is foul. And thanks to a multi-year investigation conducted by a YouTuber named Megalag, it has blown the lid wide open on this operation from Honey. And just like my bubble guts after I make the mistake of eating a hot dog at a hockey game, it's bad. So bad in fact, that it has now led to a class action lawsuit being filed against Honey. Another YouTuber named Legal Eagle just posted this video announcing this class action lawsuit they're filing against them. Now, when you hear the term YouTuber, most of you picture a bumbling imbecile like me. But contrary to popular belief, not every content creator is overdosing on stupid juice. Legal Eagle is a real attorney, not some phony baloney, horse hockey, a title he gave himself from Roblox or anything. And he made this video going over the motivation behind this class action lawsuit, believing that PayPal Honey has caused substantial financial damages to a substantial number of people. Now, this isn't his first rodeo announcing a lawsuit. I believe he's made 2 other videos talking about something that he's suing. This one obviously comes pretty early into the investigation that Megalag has conducted. Keep in mind, that was part 1 of a 3-part series that Megalag is releasing on his multi-year investigation of Honey. And part 1 already had enough foul play to lead to a class action lawsuit. I don't even know how much worse it could get with this rabbit hole. Like, part 2 might just prove PayPal Honey was trying to cast the infinite Tsukiyomi and trap everyone on Earth into a Genjutsu where we just keep fucking giving them affiliate commissions or something. Like, I do not know what else could possibly come out from Honey. Lord help us, part 3 from the investigation might just conclude and prove that PayPal Honey was trying to quantumly inject microchips into our brains or something. It really is, like, it's fascinating just how bad this company is. That one part of a 3-part investigation was enough to lead to a class action lawsuit against them. And it's not a frivolous lawsuit either. There's not really any question of whether or not Honey was engaging in taking affiliate commissions. They openly confirmed with Megalag that, like, they acknowledge that, yes, we will sometimes be the last click and get that affiliate commission. They openly say that. So that's not even what's called into question. It's more so now, is it fully illegal? And in my moron eyes, like my idiot vision, I think it has to be, right? Like, I talked about it a bit on stream last night. I'll show you some clips there. But I think it is the textbook definition of cookie stuffing, which does have a legal precedent set that it's wire fraud. Now, I think there's been a little confusion on exactly how big of a scam this is, so I'm going to try and break it down into even simpler terms. A lot of people are under the impression that the only people affected are those that promoted Honey. Like, who cares about influencers that lost money, through commissions and stuff? That's not the actual scope of it. Even setting aside the blatant false advertising where Honey claims it gets you the best coupons available, which is proven to be untrue. In fact, they hide the best coupons from you because they work with the companies directly to give you what coupons they want you to have access to. So they'll give you like a 5% coupon even though you could find a 20% one on your own. Honey tells you that doesn't exist, there's only this 5%. Setting that aside, which directly hurts the people that use Honey, setting that aside, the affiliate theft, the what I believe to be cookie stuffing, it comes from people no matter what their familiarity is with Honey. So let's say your grandmother, this is the example I've been giving on stream to try and help explain it. Let's say your grandmother on Facebook, she has an affiliate link to baking supplies, Tupperware. She has an affiliate link for Tupperware, and she shares that on her Facebook page. And you, being the good grandson you are, want to support her and give her a little commission, and you could use the Tupperware. So you click her affiliate link, you go to the Tupperware, as you're checking out, Honey pops up and says, do you want to check for coupons? And you click, sure, I might as well. So you click that, it finds no coupons, you close it. And then you finish your checkout. Well, what happened is, when you click that from Honey, Honey took the affiliate commission. So your grandmother got nothing, and she'll never even know you clicked that affiliate link. Honey got the whole thing because Honey is a brand partner of that Tupperware, not the grandmother with the affiliate link. Thus, when Honey poached the affiliate commission, they got all of the money, not your grandmother, even though it was your grandmother's link that brought the sale to the Tupperware. But that company will never know that it was the grandmother's link that did it. They will just see that it was Honey that got the last click. Thus, they have to pay out the commission to Honey. That's what's going on. Your grandmother had never heard of honey. She never promoted honey, but you had it because maybe your favorite YouTuber talked about it, or maybe you just happen to see all the advertisements elsewhere for it. That's the actual spaghetti and meatballs of it. It's not just people that promoted the honey, getting butt fucked or anything. It's anyone that has honey and then tries to click an affiliate link. Honey will take it, even if that affiliate link came from someone that knows nothing about honey. And another good thing that was pointed out in Megalag's video, even when honey provides no value at all, where you're in checkout and honey says, hey, just popping up to let you know, didn't find anything. Like, even if you don't click anything, it just pops up and says, hey, I'm here, I got nothing for you. And you click, to exit out, you click got it to get rid of it. You clicking got it, even though it came up and said, hey, we didn't find anything, we're not even trying to find it, there's nothing here for us. Even though it did actually nothing, you just clicking got it will take the affiliate commission. And the person who had the affiliate link will never know that that even happened. Another big question is, well, how did people not know they were missing out on money? How did they not know they weren't getting paid? That's how, because you never even knew it was happening, because someone just having honey took the whole commission, so you never saw any of it. I think for a lot of people there was a misunderstanding that people were getting paid by honey, and they didn't understand how people didn't recognize they were just missing payments from honey. Like, how could you possibly ignore that? No. That's not the case. Anyone that had honey installed and engaged in clicking an affiliate link, that commission never made it to whoever the affiliate was. Honey would take it. So the actual affiliate would never even know that it happened, which is why it was impossible to ever even find out. That's what made it so slippery and so sneaky. And that's also why it's nearly impossible to know just how much money was lost this way, and why it's likely into the deep millions upon millions of dollars. Which is why I think this class action lawsuit could be huge. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, I didn't pass the bar, I don't know for sure, but it seems like there is so much money that was likely lost from this because of PayPal Honey stealing the affiliate commissions. Now, the next question a lot of people ask is, did PayPal know? PayPal purchased honey for $4 billion. You bet your sweet bippy they knew. I've been flip-flopping on this back and forth, but for a $4 billion purchase, I think they would have audited the shit out of that company. I think they would have absolutely known that this was like their bread and butter. Because how else are they making money? Like, really, how else are they making money when you really stop to think about it? Markiplier pinned the tail on the donkey. His gut was absolutely right. Like, PayPal would have had to have known that when they purchased this company. I think it's now just a matter of, did PayPal know that it might be illegal? Did they knowingly spend $4 billion on illegal business practices, which would be mind-boggling if that is the case, if the answer is yes to that question. So I'm very interested to see where this class action goes. But anyway, I want to show you some of the clips from the stream because we dove into their terms of service. Honey actually is so fucking scummy that they snuck some shit into their terms of service, which of course nobody's reading. Everyone knows no one reads the terms of service. Even the law knows no one is actually sitting through and reading through every single fucking term of service for the things they sign up for. But Honey knew that and snuck some shit in there to try and cover their own ass. Like I said after the initial part 1 of the investigation, this is going to be a huge class action. There is unironically millions of dollars that were probably lost along the way for a lot of different people. So I'm very curious to see just how big it gets. I think it's almost billions of dollars lost. I've got to stop the music for that. Okay, it's going to be a lot of money, but billions? Is Honey even worth billions? PayPal paid $4 billion for it. I got to stop the music for this. Did you know Honey's terms of service make it so you can't sue them with a class action? I'm going to look that up myself right now. I don't believe you. But no one ever reads the terms of service. But I imagine Legal Eagle would have before the class action. Let's see. Let's look at the Join Honey Terms of Use. Though I don't think let's just assume it's there for a second. Does that protect you? Would that even actually protect you? I don't think so. Wasn't there a ruling not too long ago that said, like, no one reads the terms of service, so you really can't put in legally binding shit like that? I vaguely recall that being an actual court ruling. This agreement contains 1. An arbitration provision, 2. A waiver of rights to bring a class action lawsuit against us, and 3. A release by you of claims for damage against us that may arise out of your use of the service to the greatest extent permitted by applicable law. By using the service, you agree to these provisions. Their lawyers are good. They've got the Sharingan out. How could they have seen the potential class action coming? They stopped us before we even started. I wonder how far by applicable law goes. There's no way that's going to actually protect them. You can't just say, like, you can't sue us and then do blatantly illegal shit. That's not how that works. Arbitration clause and class action waiver. Important. Please review as this affects your legal rights. In caps lock. Oh, man, yeah. This seems like panic. Arbitration. You agree that all disputes between you and us, whether or not such dispute involves a third party with regard to your relationship with us, including without limitation dispute related to this agreement, your use of the service and or rights of privacy and or publicity, will be resolved by binding individual arbitration under the American Arbitration Association's rules for arbitration of consumer-related disputes, and you and we hereby expressly waive trial by jury. Why would you want that? I'm sure the jury would side with you guys. I don't know why it's screaming at me, though. Oh, wait. Here comes a threat of their own. Provided, however, that to the extent that you may have... Provided, however, that to the extent that you have in any manner violated or threatened to violate our intellectual property rights, we may seek injunctive or other appropriate relief in any state or federal court in the state of California. Discovery and rights to appeal in arbitration are generally more limited than in a lawsuit, and other rights that you and we would have in court may not be available in arbitration. Now they're tossing their big meat around. That's interesting. I've heard that too. Someone in Legal Eagle's comments brought up that what Honey did could be considered cookie stuffing, which is a form of wire fraud, and that there's legal precedent for it. I've heard that a couple times. I might as well look at it before hopping onto Rivals to start my Grandmaster climb. So cookie stuffing is legitimately a real term, and it is a real thing that they have cracked down on. Deceptive tactic in affiliate marketing. It is considered fraudulent. But what is the legal precedent? Because I think it is the textbook definition of cookie stuffing what Honey was doing. So it's been considered a form of wire fraud, and in 2006, eBay collaborated with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in a sting operation targeting top affiliate marketers. So it looks like in 2006 there was like a big case with it. Sean Hogan, eBay's largest affiliate marketer, was found to have engaged in cookie stuffing. His strategy involved modifying his website to load resources from eBay servers, thereby setting affiliate cookies on users' browsers. The technique falsely attributed subsequent eBay purchases to Hogan's site. Despite Hogan making over $28 million through eBay's affiliate commissions, it was determined that Hogan's activities did not contribute any substantial revenue to eBay. In the subsequent legal proceedings, Hogan pleaded guilty to a single wire fraud charge, leading to a 5-month federal prison sentence and a $25,000 fine. Okay, he got off pretty easy. There's another case as well. Also, eBay affiliate marketing, Brian Dunning. Similar tactics with cookie stuffing during 2006 to 2007. So there is a legal precedent set. They don't like it. But it's not harshly punished either. How interesting. Like I said, this should be a slam dunk case. I really think it should be pretty open and shut. They have a ton of money though, so it'll probably get hairy. You should go to law school, you'd be good at it. Brother, I'm a fucking moron. Why would you think I'd be good at that? A couple days ago, a friend of mine, Matt, came over. You might have met him before. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, and we had a little play date. And he came over, and we got to talking. We got to yapping a little bit, blabbering about really evil companies. I think it started because we were going through, Meta. And as we were going over, Meta and all of their shadiness, and it naturally led to, TikTok and Twitter and Amazon, the whole kit and caboodle, and then we ended up just diving down the rabbit hole of just discussing, evil companies in general. So, I just fired on the OBS and started recording the conversation. This is really just the stream of consciousness and ranting about bad companies and learning about how some companies we knew were bad were even worse than we thought. And I just decided, hey, maybe you'd find it interesting. Or maybe you just want to hear about some shitty companies. So here's two stupid assholes talking about some of the evil corporations in the world. So there's some companies I know are evil, but I can't put my finger on why, like BlackRock. Right.
and black stone.
Exactly.
And any like black plus
One of the
geode
exactly.
is like bad.
They're always. It almost feels like they tried to make the evilest company.
Yeah, like so. What is BlackRock? They're an investment group, right?
Exactly, and that's everybody's. There's also BlackRock Bar and Grill. They're fine.
Evil.
I don't like their food. They're fine.
And then so BlackRock,
investing,
they own everything, right?
like just everything in the world. You should look. Yeah, I'll get the size of their investment fund.
Yeah, and then Blackstone is what do they do?
I don't know what Blackstone is.
Okay, that's massage stones.
Yep.
Blackstone's definitely a company. Oh, I typed in Backstone. I see what went wrong.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go, Blackstone.
And it's an investment management company.
And type in who owns Blackstone. I bet it's BlackRock.
Oh no. The geodes go deep. Stephen A. Schwarzman.
Blackstone.
Over 1.1 trillion in assets.
Under management. All right, now let's see. BlackRock assets. BlackRock has 10.01 trillion in assets under management.
Oh wow. Now what about Rupert Murdoch? He's not a company. Well, he is kind of a company.
He's got a company, right?
Well, he has every company. He is the media mogul. So like every news agency is Murdoch backed. Well, he looks like Dana Carvey in Master of Disguise when he's trying to get into the Turtle Club.
You're absolutely right. Just older.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I've always thought, Rupert Murdoch is the most evil sounding
It
name
is
possible.
Did you see it in the Super Bowl? They gave him a shout out.
I did.
They said shout out Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, I forget why.
He
they
probably
did that.
owns the broadcasting rights.
Oh, that's right.
He owns anything that hits the television screen.
Yep.
Murdoch's got his little winky in.
Oh, he founded Fox.
Oh wow.
I'm pretty sure you know the show Secession.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I know it.
There we go. I'm pretty sure the main guy in Succession is based on Rupert Murdoch.
That makes sense.
I think if you're in media, you're evil.
Yeah.
Like if you own media corporations, you are evil.
I think that's fair. Like I feel like it's also only owned by 3 people. Now I think the most obvious one that we can definitely
I was
put.
going to say, do we want to put our number 1 out there?
Yeah, United Healthcare.
It's UHC.
Yeah.
There's.
Well, the good news is, checking UHC's website, they claim that they approve and pay 90% of all medical claims.
How is that not just false advertising?
It's just a
we know it's not true.
It's just legitimately a blatant lie. It's so good.
Greedy and evil.
Like needlessly evil too, like outrageously, comically, cartoonishly evil.
Yes.
I think it's worth mentioning when we say United Healthcare. I'm talking more about like even just general health insurance being the worst company in the world.
I think they are the worst
of the
them,
worst. Yeah,
but they're all terrible.
There's not a good health insurance
think
provider.
Every other healthcare company probably loves UHC because
Yep.
they take all of the heat. That's also horrible. Like these are all bad.
Yeah, they're all not good. Burger King is actually going to be on the worst companies list. It's like the
I
worst.
can't put it as 2.
It wouldn't be 2. It'd be I'd put it in the top 20 just because the food is so almost inedibly bad that I think you have to give a special spot on a list of worst companies because they consistently have the worst possible food
all the
options.
time. And just to be clear, in our opinion.
Yeah, well, if we want to get factual, Long John Silver's probably worse than Burger King.
If we want to be factual. Boeing.
Oh,
We
Boeing!
didn't get into This list is going to be so tough. I almost just want a bucket that we throw all the bad companies in.
Yeah.
Because I know UHC's up here.
It's
healthcare's
in
up
a different league, really. Boeing's a really good one because Boeing, not only are the planes not performing well and they just stranded astronauts in space on the Starliner for the last like fucking 14 months. What was supposed to be an 8-day mission has turned into like 300 days stranded on the ISS.
Just insane.
But like, where do you put them? Because like no one's died as a result of the Boeing like corruption yet, aside from the whistleblowers that they're fucking piling corpses up.
But didn't people die in the plane crashes?
Yeah, but that wasn't Boeing's fault. The Max crashes, that was entirely Boeing's fault. I just mean like recently.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, I mean Boeing does have tons of blood on
'Cause
its hands. I was just
they
talking
were-
about like these recent plane crashes
Right.
aren't.
Those aren't them.
It's
no,
not
I
them.
agree. And we're nothing if not intellectual and can separate, our feelings.
Yeah.
But I know you've watched the same things back when, like, what happened to Boeing, where they were the golden
Yeah.
standard.
If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going.
Exactly. And it was true. And
Mm-hmm.
it was when engineers ran the whole company, they sold it. Suits took over for the engineers.
Yep.
Of course, the first thing they should cut to save money is quality testing and quality assurance.
Yep, and they have so many protocols that they just don't follow anymore.
And it all just went to shit. But no, you are right. The most recent ones aren't really.
Not Boeing's fault per se.
Yeah.
But the Max crashes, those
were
are
them.
that was entirely Boeing.
Yeah.
They've got to be up there with like the worst companies. I don't know where we'd put it, like in the
I
top
don't
5.
either. This is another interesting one. I feel like we're getting all the data out there, and then we'll arrange the puzzle. Monsanto,
What's that?
which they are the pesticide company.
Yeah, they're agrochemical, agricultural, biotech.
Yes, and I've always heard what needs to be said, except how are they not the number one worst company? Formed at the start of the last century, they are still going strong, even after producing PCBs and dioxin and greatly affecting war veterans and Vietnamese children. They had to radically transform to survive towards the end of the century. You start to see that justice must be a joke. I mean, that doesn't say what it is.
Apparently, they manufactured Agent Orange.
Oh!
Holy!
Yeah. Roundup.
Did you see it? I didn't see it. Oh yeah.
Because Roundup, you know how like people will be like, coffee causes cancer. Like here's a few, but it's very.
It's loose. It's
Right. There's
yeah.
loose. Roundup is one of the products I found where they're like, this is cancer. Like they've created cancer in a can. Is what I've essentially read.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
This also says, oh yeah, there we go. It's got glyphosate in it. What I was reading was that Monsanto knew it caused cancer and also falsified reports to hide it. They're a corporation known to falsify reports in order to obtain approval for whatever they are currently manufacturing. They did this with Agent Orange and PCBs, so it can evidently be surmised that they probably did this with the GMO reports they submitted to the FDA.
I don't know this company very well. They seem bad.
Yeah.
They seem like jerks.
They do.
Agent Orange,
Yep.
not a fan.
Not great. Not
I didn't
my favorite.
Didn't like it. I did get reminded. Nestle.
I was just about to say that.
Nestle.
I was literally about to say Monsanto reminded me of Nestle.
They have to be in the top 3. It is still great. But do you remember like the baby formula controversy for Nestle? Careful examination of Nestle's marketing behavior shows that Nestle entry into low and middle income formula markets caused 212,000 infant deaths per year among mothers without clean water access at the peak of the Nestle controversy of 1981. Well, Nestle also had their infamous statement, "Water is not a human right." Nestle was accused of providing free or low-cost supplies of infant formula in hospitals and maternity centers, often dispensed by milk nurses, which were salesmen dressed in nurse uniforms, to encourage new mothers to use infant formula. Formula use among newborns increased the risk that mothers release prolactin-inhibiting hormones, which signal milk production to shut down, creating a future dependence on breast milk substitutes. By the 60s, Nestle already viewed marketing of formula in hospitals as a strategic approach to encouraging adoption of infant formula, as seen in an excerpt from its 1969 annual report. So Shein's on here. I don't know enough about Shein, but
Oh, the clothing company?
Temu.
Oh.
Temu's gotta make the list.
Just reminded me, though.
Comcast.
Comcast, the fucking internet companies.
Yeah,
Nothing's
ISPs.
good. FTX is crazy because clearly it's a horrible company. But it's like, it's almost laughably bad. In a way. Like, I guess not for all of the people who lost all of their money in it.
Oh, easy one. Ticketmaster. That's another really easy one.
That is. And this is what I'm meaning by buckets, because top bucket you've got UHC, Monsanto, Nestle, the people who are killing people
Like actively
and don't
killing
care.
people, yeah.
And then the next bucket is like you guys fucking suck.
Yeah.
Like, you are greedy as all.
It's just,
get out.
it's a scam, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge racket where Ticketmaster owns Live Nation, and like Ticketmaster has all the fees and shit.
Yep.
They're still in a legal battle right now, which is a
With
pretty
who? Like, which side?
god. Like they're in just like a huge legal battle. They had a really cool statement that I'm struggling to remember. They said something to the effect of, "We're saving you money in the end," or something. Let me look it up. Ticketmaster argued that competition would cost fans more money in their antitrust lawsuit.
Oh. Yeah, because that's how that works.
Yeah, usually when there's competition, I mean,
Yeah.
the consumers are the ones that are hurt.
They compete to drive price up faster.
Yeah, exactly. That's economics 101. With Ticketmaster having monopoly, now they have complete control to look out for your best
You
interests.
know how low they can make those prices if they wanted to?
Yeah, and they are.
Yeah, they're doing it. Purdue Pharmaceuticals. They are the ones behind the Oxy crisis.
How so?
They were the ones who pushed Oxy on all doctors, said it wasn't dangerous at all, lied about everything.
Last month, Attorney General Ken Paxton secured $7.4 billion settlement with Purdue Pharma and Sackler family for the role in the opioid epidemic.
That's wild. They clearly knew, and the fact that nobody's gone to jail is disgusting.
Yeah, I looked up the Sacklers' awful last name, by the way.
You know who played him in one of the Netflix shows?
Huh.
Matthew Broderick.
Oh, God. He was on our Worst Celebrities list. He makes a comeback. For those that don't know why we dislike Matthew Broderick and why he made the bad celebrities tier list, he killed a woman from drunk driving. Well, it was a woman and her daughter, if I remember right. The 1987 car crash, she crossed the wrong lane, collided head-on with another car. The driver, Anna Gallagher, and her mother, Margaret Doherty, were killed instantly. He got charged $100 for the careless driving practices.
Because then you've got Amazon who's like, you can't pee.
Yeah.
So there's all these different categories of bad, essentially.
Bank of America is one that's always going to be on the list. I feel like that one's also pretty obvious.
I feel like there's big industry sections too, like banks in general, healthcare in general.
Lockheed Martin.
I mean, they're...
Nintendo. The way... That one should be pretty clear. I don't like Nintendo.
The way they handle...
Everything. They shit on the community. They have the most anti-consumer, archaic practices. There's Ubisoft, because they're absolutely in the shitter.
Yeah,
like
and I think there's a lot of these gaming companies. That's why I think I'm saying it's our list, not the objective list.
Yeah.
Because I would put a lot of these gaming companies on there in my mind.
But they also just wouldn't be anywhere in the same ballpark as like,
a UHC.
Yeah, as a...
Exactly.
Or a Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, we've got UHC, Lockheed Martin, Nintendo, Burger King. There's just so many bad companies. So how do we narrow this down to 10? And how do you want to?
I don't know. I don't think we need to. We can just be ranting about shitty companies.
This isn't even a list at this point.
It's
We're
just
talking about the worst companies.
Yeah. I think we know which the worst in the world is, though. It's got to be health insurance, right?
It has to be
health insurance.
I feel like there's no world in which it's not. Like, our top buckets are health insurance, pharmaceuticals. I'm trying to think of how I would encompass, like, Monsanto and Nestle.
While you think about that, I'm going to go to a special bucket and put some poop in it. I'll be right back. What'd you find?
So I was reading about this company, Cargill.
Oh, yeah. Cargill? It's pronounced Cargill.
Oh, it's French. They're the second largest privately owned company in the U.S. From what I read, they're bad.
Yep.
But doesn't seem like, I don't think they complete. My whole thing was like people died from Salmonella, E. coli, all this stuff. Let me show you one thing though. But it's not like they created Agent Orange, which I think precludes them from that. Read this. I said this sounds like fucking Hydra.
We are the flour in your bread, the wheat in your noodles, the salt on your fries, the corn in your tortillas, the chocolate in your dessert, the sweetener in your soft drink. We are the oil in your salad dressing and the beef, pork, or chicken you eat for dinner. We are the cotton in your clothing, the backing on your carpet, and the fertilizer in your field.
It feels like a threat.
It feels like what Chucky Finster's mom wrote him before she died.
That's such a different way to look at it.
Wait, do you remember her note?
No.
I'm the wind against your hair,
Oh no.
the flower in your garden.
So I think Cargill. I don't know enough. I'm not saying they're not bad. I'm just saying I don't know enough to put them on my list.
Yeah, I've never even heard of Cargill,
Me
but
either.
it says they're destroying the planet, so it looks like big deforestation.
Gotcha. All right, not good.
So not good.
You know what? Just because this stuff says it, we'll put them on there. Put them at the bottom. Cargill's there.
They're there. They made it.
So we like. Would you say above all else is healthcare?
Yep,
I think that's my number one by a landslide.
for sure. I think so as well.
I think the category of doing really bad things and knowing that you're doing it, and once again, people are dying, but just not to the same level as like a UHC who's just denying sick people help.
Yeah, so that'd be pharma, the Purdue
Yep.
Pharma,
Purdue Pharma.
Nestle.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think. I think there's a lot we missed, for
we
sure.
We can keep digging through.
No, we don't need to. I feel like there's just so many it'd be hard to pinpoint. Like, I think there's so many that are obvious, like Apple,
Yeah, and that's the human rights violations, I feel
Yeah.
like, which is Amazon maybe towards the top of that. But once you get into that, it's all of them. It's Apple, it's Nike, it's every clothing manufacturer, 90% of clothing manufacturers. Like,
we didn't even think about cigarettes. Cigarettes is it's so easy. But
this is another category in my head.
does that make them evil though? Because you smoke it and you know it's bad for you. I think they're probably more
like, I think they almost go along with an Exxon in my head, because the amount of money and campaigning they do, at least back then, to convince you they're not bad.
That's true. They used to do that.
And then I think it's all malicious negligence, where you go, I know this is bad, but it makes me money, so I'm going to do everything in my power to keep making this money.
Yeah.
BlackRock's on there.
Pornhub, porn in general.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Also, yeah, I know. I thought we were doing worse, not best.
What is this one?
I don't know. Try pulling it up. I thought that was... Is that Titleist?
The worst golf balls I've ever had.
Oh, God. Is that just England?
I think that's a car brand. I think we hit the good ones.
I think we've hit the good ones as well.
I don't think there's any like glaring behemoth we missed or any.
No, we can finish off with our most hated companies, which is Burger King.
Naturally. Artesian builds.
Defunct companies. Yes. You happy with that list?
I'm happy with that list. Good work.
And
Good work today. I am nothing if not knowledgeable on music. And friends, do I have a treat for you today. The whole reason music was invented in the first place, from the time a caveman picked up two stones and banged them together rhythmically, has all been leading up to this song that I discovered today. But not only just this song, this artist is a hit-making machine. Her name is Summer Rain.
Summer rain, just said, yeah. Tighten up, 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 tighten up. Please don't judge me until you get to know me, until you've been where I've been, until you've seen what I've seen.
What more could you possibly ask for? A beat like morphine have you feeling euphoric. She's got the voice of an angel with a flow like Dracula, smoking them fucking symbiotes. Summer Rain has mastered music. and this is her breakout single, Tighten Up. I can't believe it doesn't have as many views as Dame Tu Cosita. This is... I can't believe it took me this long to find it.
Don't judge me, people, cause my past is not my future. Give me some time. I promise I'll get better. Give me some time. I promise I'll get wiser. Give me some time. I promise I'll get smarter. Betting against the odds of tomorrow.
That was almost a rhyme. But that's the beauty of this track. It subverts your expectations and challenges your very understanding of music. Summer Rain's coming out here making a statement saying, rap doesn't need to rhyme, and I'll prove it. So she's doing this on purpose to demonstrate her stranglehold on the English language and her complete domination of lyricism as a whole by purposefully avoiding rhymes, even accidental ones. She's teasing us. She could rhyme all of these words if she wanted to, but chooses not to. She does, however, tickle our sack with a couple of slant rhymes, like that one right there, betting against the odds of tomorrow, and it is profound. There is so much depth to these lyrics, you could teach classes at university digesting them and never quite get to the bottom of it, because it's always going to be a debate on what she means. So let's just take that little chunk right there. She's talking about, give me some time, I promise I'll get better, I'll get faster, stronger, betting against the odds of tomorrow. What the fuck is that? I can't come up with a single explanation for what she even means there. Betting against what odds of tomorrow? That tomorrow's even going to arrive in the first place? We might not see a tomorrow? Armageddon arrives before tomorrow does, and you're betting... I'm a little confused on it, but I think that's what makes it so special.
Give me the benefit of the doubt, people. Y'all should be happy. I survived all this evil. When I'm dead and gone, there will be no sequel. And my soul will live on, and my heart will stay strong. Mine gone, so I get my grind on. Eyes on the prize. For so long, been told I was so wrong. For so long, get stepped on.
If nothing else, the song is very honest. No corporate shills, no overlords pulling the puppet strings and making her dance. It feels like we're reading pages out of her diary here. As for the music video, I don't exactly know what it all means. I don't know what the ass shaking and pole dancing relates to in the lyrics and the message of the song. But maybe she was just having fun. It seems like she's really enjoying herself, and that's the most important part.
Just said we Teflon, tell 'em get the fuck on. This is no flex zone. I'm from a place where they still showing shade and still throwing bones. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I remain strong until the Lord takes me home. Heart filled with so much pain.
I feel like doing the ass jiggling right at the camera, straight down the pipe, about to go into the colonoscopy close-up. I feel like that visual didn't fit the lyrics at that time, talking about, the Lord. Feels like that was a bit of a conflict there, but, at the end of the day, I'm not the fucking director.
Countless drama, so many lonely nights, but no more drama. This life is harder than a summer in a sauna. Bet against tomorrow. So much pain and sorrow, but in my mind I see beautiful tomorrows. Tighten up, 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 tighten up. Just say.
How this didn't chart on the top 100 will remain a mystery to me for eons to come. I think she was snubbed. And I do really mean this. She seems to be having a good time. So I'm happy for her. And I've watched a couple of her other tracks as well as read some of her comments. She seems like a genuinely positive person overall. So it's really sweet, Yeah, you could say it's not the best song ever made. You could say that for a lot of songs. Also, she has been on the grind. She makes 5 or 6 songs a month and has for the last 3 years. When I was scrolling through, I came across this one and my curiosity was piqued. Here's her track on Martin Luther King. Didn't really know what to expect going into it. I was still kind of new to the musical stylings of Summer Rain, but I was pretty blown away.
I see things in my dreams. 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 Yikes, I see things in my dreams. So let me tell you, I'm not gonna be fooled. Let me tell you what I see. I foresee the future. Dream, 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 dream. Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King. I see dreams, visions, stay vivid. Hey, baby, what you wanna say? I'm living.
That hook right there is superb. It reminds me of Shark Boy and Lava Girl when they're singing the Dreams song, except this is elevated. This is a chef's delight here.
We good, we good. I'm from the hood, don't get it misunderstood. I'm a little white girl that's gonna make it fair for all of us. Let me tell you something, I don't care. All you racist motherfuckers, get out my fucking hair. I don't like y'all. I don't like any of y'all racist motherfuckers. I don't care what color you are. If you're racist, get out my fucking car. Bitch, I don't give a fuck. You talking to the one that's tough. White girl, hot summer, let's talk about her, Summer Walker.
Yeah, that's fucking right, dweeb. If you're racist, get out of Summer Rain's car. You are not welcome in her vehicle, and she's making that very clear with this track. I'm very curious if she writes these down before performing them, or if she's always freestyling it. Because it really feels like, in every song I've heard from her, it's mainly freestyling. At least I think it is, because in a couple of the tracks, she leaves in, like, some lines of gibberish, like actual Adam Sandler gibberish, to try and fill space in the beat before coming back in. But why? Why not just write lyrics first to the beats and then perform it? You know what I mean? Imagine if she did start writing songs. It would be over for everyone else in the rap game. We haven't even seen her operating at maximum efficiency yet. So I think Summer Rain's potential is still way up. But yeah, I just wanted to share this a little bit because I've actually had her song Tighten Up stuck in my head now. I've got that and Stank on it stuck in my head over the last like 24 hours, which is how I ended up finding her track, is after going through Stank on it again. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's really it. So yeah. See, someone just stole $1 million in olive oil. What's the point in stealing that much in things? In things like that. The way I asked that sounded like a child. Why would someone take something that's not theirs? But I mean, like, why would you steal that much olive oil? You can't sell it. You could never make $1 million out of your $1 million theft of olive oil.
Police say another transport company with specialized trucks picked up the oil and was supposed to make a delivery. The client never received the shipment, and the theft was reported on Wednesday. Dalhousie University.
Very cool footage just showing olive oil.
Oil is popular for thieves because it's resellable.
With cheese and olive oil, well, it's a middle ground sort of product. It is expensive, but not that expensive.
What? Is there like an olive oil black market I don't know about? There's what? You're telling me it's easy to resell cheese and olive oil? Who the fuck is just buying cheese out of someone's trunk? Restaurants? Well, I mean, obviously restaurants would be the main clientele, but I just don't think you'd be buying olive oil from like Shady Goober who's selling you olive oil out of their dad's F-150. Like what? You'd probably just go to like the actual olive oil broker. There's a huge black market for oil and spices. What? All right, I'm going to look into this. I'm going to get some boots on the ground here. Why? It can't be that much cheaper, right? Like, think economies of scale. You buy $1 million worth of olive oil from, I don't know, fucking Yoakum & Sons. I don't know who sells olive oil like that. But you buy it from Yoakum & Sons. Like, they're the gold standard of olive oil. You probably get a huge deal. Like, all that olive oil, you probably get a great deal on, as opposed to going to the guy that stole it, who's trying to turn that olive oil theft into, like, the exact amount it's worth. You're probably paying more from that guy than you would be just getting it from the actual source. The fakes, the frauds, the scams, how to tell if your olive oil is the real deal. The olive oil industry is rife with fraud. I think this is just, like, about brands that are faking that their olive oil is virgin or something. This is an interesting headline. The shocking truth about Italian olive oil and the mafia. If you steal it, you can rebrand it and call it homemade olive oil. The thief isn't buying the olive oil, so making any money is good. Doesn't even need to be marked up. That's true, I guess. I don't know why you would buy just from, like, a dude. Like, just a guy. That could just be contaminated.
Holy shit. In 2024, some thieves in Houston stole $2.5 million worth of olive oil.
Not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when you think of large-scale theft.
This is common.
Houston company says slick thieves stole olive oil worth more than $2.5 million. Jason Miles is live outside the warehouse.
My God, he went straight to P. Diddy's house too, I bet. Oh, the culprit. He's holding it right there.
672 bottles of olive oil make up a pallet. 290 pallets. 290 pallets. How many bottles is that?
That's crazy, man. That's so crazy.
Every pallet has 672 bottles.
That's more than $2.5 million worth of olive oil that was likely trucked out by more than a dozen tractor trailers. And get this, I'm told the company that operated this warehouse is now out of business and conveniently did not have working surveillance cameras at the time of this theft. That is all part of the...
An inside job. Wait, this was their exit strategy. We're going to steal $2.5 million worth of premium olive oil and sell it for half the price and run our business into the ground. It's genius.
At a premium around the world, partly because of a drought in Spain where so many olive trees grow. Reporting live on the east side, Jason Miles.
What a fascinating market.
Something of value, olive oil, can become a target too. Jason, thank you.
I don't know why he said it like that, but I guess so. Wait, man. If you got some olive oil in your house, it's sitting on gold, I guess. So the most recent one is the $1 million stolen from the trucking company. That's what started us down this path. Then there's the $2.5 million one last year. Some guy asked a question on Quora. Why are thieves stealing olive oil instead of gold? Probably because it's easier to get your hands on some pallets of olive oil than it is to get your hands on fucking gold. Like, what are you gonna do, break into Fort Knox? Like, Jesus, Junior, get off the web. It's a stupid question. My question is, why olive oil over any other target? I bet at one point you've unknowingly bought stolen olive oil, and it's gonna keep me up at night knowing that. Also, you know what? Actually, I fucking doubt it. You think Publix is buying from the thieves? I don't think so. I got a lot of trust in Publix. Piggly Wiggly, maybe, but not Publix. Thanks for your Subzoot. Hey, glad you're liking the soap, Zoot. Maybe at some point, but right now it's just the body soap. It's not just olive oil. Apparently someone stole 100,000 eggs, which are now considered a luxury due to bird flu. We did go over that one a little bit. See, that I can understand a little bit more. That one I do actually get to a certain extent. Egg thieves, like egg thievery, that's happened quite a bit. There was also like the 60-year-old dudes who made off with like 400 grand worth of eggs a few years ago. We talked about that on stream. So like eggs, oh, I know, we've been there, done that. Olive oil though, I don't know, just to me it doesn't sound smart. Also, it seems like stealing olive oil is a new thing. It's only been prevalent in the last 2 years. I can't find any olive oil heists, like Ocean's 11 style heists or anything, dating anything before 2024. So that was a big... Nope, never mind. Spanish police seize 74 tons of stolen olives among soaring prices. That's 2023, but that's not olive oil. That's just directly olives. It also looks like they were just transporting it in the backseat of their fucking car like a clown. Competition is a great, beautiful thing. Coke competing with Pepsi. Dick competing with balls. Competition is the best possible thing for consumers because then it leads to companies competing with each other to offer the best product, so you'll choose them over the competitors. When there is not a competitor, there's no incentive for the company to do anything different or be any better. It can just be complacent and stay the same. That is the story of Overwatch for the longest time. A game that's existed in this pitiful, stagnant lull. This holding pattern, this autopilot mode, staying idle where it doesn't do anything because it doesn't need to do anything because anyone that wants a hero shooter is going to play it because all of the competitors wither and die pretty quickly. Like Concord, for example. So Overwatch didn't need to be better. But they did do a big push with that whole scam Overwatch 2, that load of baloney, where all they did was just put a 2 in the name and then not follow through on a single promise they ever made. Still no PvE ever coming to the game. None of the promises being fulfilled. We don't need to go down this road. I've made fun of them plenty of times. I've thrown my fair share of tomatoes for that. But recently, there has been something that threatened the ecosystem a bit here of Overwatch. Marvel Rivals. And this is a very good thing for both Overwatch and Rivals. If you are the biggest fan of Marvel Rivals, you want Overwatch to get better because Overwatch getting better means it's going to force Rivals to get better in order to stay competitive in the market. And if you're a huge Overwatch fan, God rest your soul, good heavens, Lord have mercy. If you're the biggest Overwatch fan, you want Rivals to continue to do extraordinarily well because Rivals doing well is finally getting some actual tender love and care put into your game, making your game better to stay competitive in the market. Overwatch is finally doing something. You see, Overwatch is not good. In fact, it might be the worst thing possible. The only thing worse than Overwatch is death, and even that's pretty close. I don't like the game. I used to love the game. I have close to like 600 hours in it for the first 3 seasons. I loved it. And then it just started getting stale, and it never got better. And it's been stale ever since. There was a little spark, like a little ignition in me that got me back in Overwatch for a bit with Overwatch 2 going to 5v5. I was like, oh, this is new and different. And even that wore off. And now, Overwatch 2 is basically just Overwatch 1 again, where they're slowly reintroducing everything from Overwatch 1. 6v6. They just made a huge hoopla yesterday about bringing loot boxes back. You know your goose is cooked. You know you are desperate when you are celebrating the return of loot boxes. Now, speaking of desperate, maybe you're desperate for love and Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Well, maybe the reason you don't have a Valentine is because you don't smell good. I'm just gonna hit you with cold water. You want to know how you fix that? You use Cheeky soap. Start smelling better. Our soap company, baby, it's the best in the world. And also, for Valentine's Day, we're doing 10% off for the whole weekend. So starting today, everything's 10% off. Go to usecheeky.com, click the link in the description, 10% off. You're going to feel the best you've ever felt after a shower. You're going to smell the best you've ever felt, and you're going to find love. I guarantee it. Now, as I mentioned, Overwatch is, at least to me, in a panicked state, trying to figure out what they can do to claw back some players, or keep whatever players they have left in their game instead of going to Rivals, which right now has all of the hype and all of the momentum. And their plan is basically just, hey, let's just dial everything back. Let's turn the clock back to when you guys liked Overwatch. You remember that? We're gonna do all of that again. Just ignore the 2 in the name. It's taking you back to the past to play a shitty game that sucks ass. It's just going from Overwatch 2 to Overwatch 1 again, but with more heroes now. And also, they did make a huge announcement with a large multitude of changes that are coming to the game. Some of them seem pretty big, like the introduction of perks and a third-person mode, as well as a slew of other changes, but they're pretty big, like more substantial than Overwatch is used to having, because they haven't needed to make any big changes, because it's been the only bully on the block in the hero shooter genre until Marvel Rivals, which has absolutely exploded. The game is huge. And most people really like the game, actually. It's been able to hold over 250,000 players on just Steam since its release. And it's not showing any signs of slowing down with constant updates and constantly listening to community feedback. Like the other day, Marvel Rivals rolled out this delusional brain-dead idea of doing a mid-season rank reset that everyone was vocal about their disgust with, saying like, hey, you just blowing from Stupid Town? Can we not do this? And the devs heard that, they're like, you're right. We won't do this. We're going to put away the Orb of Confusion, and we're not going to do that. Sorry. Like, that's great. If it was Overwatch, they would have rolled that out the next day just out of spite. Like, fuck you guys. Point is, Marvel Rivals has been absolutely biblically slapping Overwatch in the mainstream consciousness of hero shooters, and in player count as well. Overwatch player numbers on Steam are brutal in comparison to Rivals, but there are a large chunk of players for Overwatch that are on console, and that same is true for Rivals, where it is likely more people on Rivals than Overwatch. Point is, Rivals has been shoving Overwatch into the lockers. It has been putting its head in the toilet and swirling the game, and now, because of this competition, Overwatch is finally doing something to try and breathe life back into the game and make a better product. So, We went over some of the changes on stream last night, and I think this is a great thing, both for Rivals and Overwatch. A new era of innovation and excitement. Loot boxes are back! It's so innovative, they've never tried that before. Not just the loot boxes, they're adding perks to the game similar to how Apex does it, and they're adding a Valorant-style game mode. Oh, wait, they're putting effort into it? No, why would they do that?
Heroes are about to get a whole lot more heroic with perks. Perks are here to completely redefine your strategy and how you play your favorite heroes. Think of them as hero-specific bonuses that level up your gameplay and not just your hero.
Oh
This means
shit!
you can
That is
customize
exactly
how
like
you play
Apex
in a
Legends,
match
yeah.
like never before.
Oh, it's back! Yeah! Yes! Yeah!
Major perks are gameplay shifting additions to your hero's kit, changing your core loop and redefining
Tomorrow, Marvel
what a
Rivals
hero is
announced perks.
capable of. Let's look at an example now with Orisa.
Stadium is packed with
Here we go.
transformative powers and strategic encounters
Third
that enhance
person.
the hero fantasy well beyond anything we've released. This also includes the option to choose how you play in either a first-person or an entirely new third-person perspective from which to see more of the battlefield
Third-person
and
hero
demonic
shooters could
projections
never
in
work. What are they smoking? Where would they even get that idea
To go into
from?
detail and really showcase what Stadium is all about.
Well, it looks like they're at least trying to do something with Overwatch now instead of just riding this complacency wave for the last fucking 5 years. That's competition, baby. That'll do it to you. I'm gonna be honest, not enough to get me back into Overwatch, but at least it's trying now. Took them this long to know they got competition. Well, they legitimately did not have competition until Rivals. They were able to just do whatever they wanted, and hero shooters would pop up and die within months. Till Rivals. Now they gotta try. You passed the free loot boxes part. Free loot boxes? Wait a minute. I may have spoke too soon. Free loot boxes? This will be good for both games. Hopefully this will be the start of Blizzard waking up and getting... Yeah. I mean, it is good for both games. 100%. Make no mistake, these are big changes. Beyond the comical reintroduction of loot boxes, there are real meat and potatoes here. You know, like the stadium mode. Like, looking at the list here, the things that they're introducing, like, these are big. Stadium mode sounds like something that's got a lot of thought put behind it. Seems like it wants to be some kind of pseudo MOBA in Overwatch, so you're going to be earning currency and upgrading your heroes for the match. Seems like they want to put quite a focus on it too. They have like the third person option now as well. Like there are a lot of things they're trying, and just the fact that Overwatch for the first time in a long time is trying is a sign of just how good competition is for games and genuinely anything. When there is a monopoly, when there is something that has a stranglehold on an industry and nothing really threatens it, why would it ever have any incentive to do anything better? It can only ever get worse. That is why you as an Overwatch fan, or you as a Marvel Rivals fan, want each game to be doing well, because it's going to make your preferred game have to be better and improve and evolve. So I'm happy to hear this. It's not enough to get me back in the game. I'll probably continue to laugh at Overwatch for the blunder that is Overwatch 2, but I can't help but applaud them for finally putting some real effort into trying to make the game better. And I hope that these changes are good changes for the game. So yeah, Overwatch is desperate, and they should be. And from this desperation, hopefully a diamond will be forged, and Overwatch can somehow return to its former glory and be really good again. We'll see. That's really about it. So yeah.
I posted a video 2 days ago that showed myself and some of Florida's top minds getting together using math and science to figure out exactly how this woman named Lily Phillips was going to try and accomplish the inhuman feat of having sex with 1,000 men in 24 hours. Like, that is something that Stan Lee would be recruiting for his Avengers squad in real life. There's also been doctors coming out urging her not to do this. It's too extreme. This will be a cooter catastrophe. And I think the experts are right in their concern here. I may not be a vaginal scholar. I don't know everything there is to know about the vagina, but I do know that 1,000 of anything is a lot. I would probably get winded and need to go to the hospital if I chewed 1,000 pieces of gum in 24 hours. Couldn't even imagine 1,000 penis. Like, this is one of those things that I think could probably even kill Wolverine. Like, if Wolverine tried to take 1,000 dick in the butt, his ass would die. That he wouldn't be able to regenerate that, even with the adamantium and regeneration factor at play. Like, this is something that is actually unbelievable that she's going to try and accomplish. The human body wasn't designed to withstand that level of pounding. And we had more questions than answers, so I went to the source directly, asking her, about strategy and all kinds of different questions, and she actually got back to me. A lot of people have been wondering, did she respond? And the answer is yes. So yesterday on stream, before playing Path of Exile 2, I got together with the chat and we started to come up with a list of questions that we wanted answers to. So I'm going to show you how that went, and I'll give you an update on everything there. But I know you also have a question right now, which is, where can I get that beautiful, classified Moist Global hoodie? Well, you can go to moistglobal.com to pick up this bad boy. This classified line is all about aliens and redacted documents, because I love that shit so much. So there's hoodies, there's sweatpants, there's a beanie, and a hat. The hat has a cute alien on it, but I left it at the warehouse because I was wearing it yesterday. It's a great line. Check it out. Just saw the video about the girl trying 1,000 dudes is crazy. Yeah, the little, Grand Slam sampler. She actually got back to me. When Matt and Danny hop on, we can start getting our questionnaire together to figure out exactly how she plans to tackle 1,000 dudes in 24 hours. 1,000 dudes over a lifetime is common, but 24 hours? What? 1,000 dudes over a lifetime is common? I don't know about that. I don't know where you're getting your data from. Anime or something? I'll tell you right now. Quad digits? Not common. I haven't even jorked it 1,000 times. That's true. That's a really good question. I bet I also haven't reached 4 digits on masturbation. Rookie numbers? Well, I've never done more than one peepness stretch a day. So we'll do some math. Probably started when I was, 12, 13, so about 17 years worth of experience. And then I didn't, even going through puberty, I didn't masturbate much. So we'll do an average of let's just do 3 times a month. We'll use that number here. I'm going to break out the calculator. So if I did 3 times a month every year for the last 17 years, I will have only played the skin flute 612 times. But then it's impossible to know for sure, because then there'd be some months where I'd do more, where I'd get really feverish. But I think it'd be close. I don't know if I've actually done 1,000 jerks 3 times a month. Yeah, I really did not hit it that hard back in the day. How's she gonna find 1,000 men to sign up for it? She has applications. She's doing a casting call. I don't know what the requirements are, which is a question I'd like to ask her. I'll do a bullet point format. What are the requirements of the athletes that apply? Is it to completion? What counts as sex? Ooh, that's another good question. Will they be tested? Because I imagine she doesn't want to contract 1,000 STDs, so what about STD concerns? Do you have what would be a vaginal masseuse? A gynecologist? Probably not a gynecologist, but someone to 1,000 dudes in 24 hours, her pussy's gonna blow up. You won't survive. You'd need a professional, but I don't even know what professional would specialize in that. So I don't know how to ask that. I guess here, I'll do it all-encompassing. Do you have a pit crew? I'll put in parentheses in case she doesn't watch NASCAR or F1 or anything. team that will help. How will she eat or pee? Another good question. Are there bathroom breaks? Food breaks? Catering for athletes? Nice. Maybe they can prepare themselves beforehand and immediately... That's not even going to be a good speedrun strat. The only real speedrun strat you can do for this is you would start naked, so you don't have to waste time taking clothes off. So you just have a queue of 1,000 naked men, and it's just like a assembly line that you go down. That's the only way. That's the only real speedrun shortcut. That's wrong. You'll also need lube. Oh, good question. That's a good question to ask. How do I ask that? Lube question? I'll just do lube question mark. I don't even know how to phrase it. I think she'll know what I mean. Is she going to start from smallest to biggest? That'd be a good strategy. I don't think it'd save time or anything, but it would definitely help with pain, I would imagine. Will there be fluffers for the next 10 or so dudes so they aren't soft when it's their turn? I already asked about like her pit crew. I'll specify fluffers though, because I imagine that has to be a necessity here. I don't even... Man, my questions read like a caveman asking them. Will there be team of fluffers so time isn't lost on softness to hardness? I don't know what's going on with my brain right now. I'm not asking questions in a coherent way. There, that's a much better way of asking that. Will there be a team of fluffers so time isn't lost waiting for erection? Because you could lose a lot of time on that. And especially if if they go past the 1 minute 26 seconds allotment because someone can't get hard, you'd have to like throw out the contestant and bring someone in quick because there's no way you'd already lose too much time. I will ask that though, because I imagine optimal position would be doggy, right? That'd be the quickest entry, and they wouldn't have to worry about like going on like splaying out. I said, what position is used for optimized speed? Yeah, I'll just start with these questions, and then if more arise when Matt and Danny get here, I'll throw it to her. I already asked if it's to completion and everything. All here, just so that way we're all on the same page. The questions I asked were, what are the requirements of the athletes that apply? Is it to completion? What counts as sex? What about STD concerns? Do you have a pit crew, team of experts that specialize in pain management? Do you have a team that organizes the participants? Are there bathroom breaks, food breaks, catering for athletes, lube? Will there be a team of fluffers so time isn't lost waiting for erections? What position is used for optimized speed? There should be a few hundred on the bench just in case. Where is this going to take place? A place where you can fit more than 1,000 people? No. So, at our round table meeting about it, we concluded that what's likely going to be the case is people are going to have time blocks. So it won't be 1,000 dudes all at once in a queue. It'll be like probably batches of like 20 dudes that show up at this time, another batch of 20 dudes that show up at this time. That kind of organization would be my guess. Because you're not going to find a place for 1,000 naked dudes. Like, not even Ram Ranch can handle that amount. So it's going to be blocks and showing up.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Also, Lily responded, so I tossed her a bunch of questions, so hopefully we'll get some more clarity on that soon.
What was her response?
Oh, she said that she thought it was fun, our conversation, and she'll answer all the questions that we have. So I sent her a huge list of questions, and now they're not there anymore for some reason because it said she has vanish mode on, so I don't know what that means.
Ah, shit. Now the real question is, did she approve us to go shoutcast?
She didn't say anything about that. Vanish mode is a feature on Instagram that lets users send messages that disappear after they're viewed. Oh, that's nice. That means she viewed it. She's probably just she's probably just talking with her team about the answers to the questions, what she can share.
Yeah. She printed that out, put on her reading glasses, and she's putting thoughtful responses to each question.
She got out a cup of Joe.
So, I saw some comments on the video saying even Lisa Sparks has come out and said like the news was very exaggerated and it was only like 150.
I just mentioned that a little bit ago too, that apparently there's a lot of debate on if it's real or not. I read a little bit about it. I didn't know Lisa said it though.
That's what a comment said. I did zero research to confirm.
Good. The way it should be. This is the chat. So she has vanish mode on, and I sent that whole list, so now that whole list isn't there anymore. Does that mean does she still have the list, or do I need to double text her and ask if she has the list? Yeah, I know it means she read it, but can she still, like, access it? Because there was, like, fucking 15 questions on there. There's no way she remembers all of it.
No, I'm sure she wrote it down on a notepad.
If she read it and closed it, it's gone. Okay, I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. I'm just gonna say, hey, did you get my questions?
You've decided you're going to type it in the way that sounds like you're like, hey, why haven't you responded yet?
I have no other way of asking it.
Why don't you just say, they disappeared on my end. Do you still have them?
That's a much better way. 24 hours later and still radio silence on the questions, but I wanted to give you all this update because I'm getting asked about it so much. I asked a bunch of questions. Hopefully we'll get some answers to them at some point, and even if we don't, eventually come, the Super Bowl of sex, we'll see how it all plays out, I suppose. But yeah, just wanted to keep you all in the loop on this. That's about it. So yeah. I have a long history of making content on bad crowdfunding projects. For years, I used to sprinkle a few of those puppies in there, just a little something to satisfy my sweet tooth, a nice little junk food. It was always so silly and fun, but I don't do that content as much anymore because there is such an overabundance of blatant scams and just fraudulent projects that will never actually come to fruition that people still just can't help but to dump their wallet out in hopes that they'll get delivered this panacea that they're being promised, or this life-changing invention straight from Jimmy Neutron's lab. And it's just not fun anymore. It's just kind of sad. But today, I got recommended a video from YouTube's mysterious algorithm about a rare futuristic e-bike from a channel called Berm Peak. And I recognized the e-bike from an old Indiegogo campaign called Revo. This fantasy factory fuck-up raised over $6.5 million, and then the company just disappeared, leaving their backers in the dark. And they did actually deliver some product, but I never actually bothered to follow up on it. And then randomly today, I got this video from Berm Peak, who reviews it and calls it the worst bicycle ever made. But first, let's jog your memory. What is the Revo, and why did people go feral throwing their money at it?
If you could design your own e-bike, how would you do it? Would it be classy, sexy, or perhaps a bold new design that's elegant yet functional? Want to know more? Introducing Revo, the hubless e-bike.
They treat the marketing for this bike like they're trying to advertise the new Avengers movie here. It just goes so Insano style for no reason at all. And it worked. It was gripping. It had people by the nutsack begging them to put money into this.
You'll be turning heads with Revo's amazingly unique design. The patent-pending hubless wheels are crafted from aerospace-grade alloys and engineered for maximum durability. Revo also rides and handles exceptionally well, thanks to a strong lightweight core. Feel the need for speed? Simply rev the throttle and watch the world slow down.
Engineered by Galileo, brought back to life by our patent-pending necromancy technology, we crafted the Revo out of alloys and polymers that haven't been identified on this planet yet from the year 3000. And the Revo is everything you thought impossible made possible. But it's not made yet. We need your clams in order for it to be in the corporeal realm. Eventually. Maybe. It might. That's the beauty of crowdfunding. There's a good chance it just never exists.
Or, if you prefer, use the incredibly clever pedal assist that adapts to road gradient and provides you with a gentle boost that feels so natural. Ever feel anxious about leaving your bike alone? We feel you. Simply use your fingerprint to lock the bike. A strong wheel lock deploys automatically, out of reach from bolt cutters. No more carrying bulky chains around.
Far be it from me, a simpleton, to question the experts at the Revo think tank. That headquarters must have incalculable neurons firing at all times, but if I may posit, what stops a thief from just picking it up and carrying it away? Yeah, you have a fingerprint scanner, that's awesome. Yeah, maybe it also pops out like a retina scanner and then like a taste bud scanner to ensure that it's you behind it.
all this biometric data that it's collecting. But it doesn't, like, the beauty of a chain in a bike is you chain it to something so they can't just walk off with it. Here they can. And in order to solve the problem of them walking off with it, you'd still have to chain it to something, so it doesn't get rid of the need for the chain, you know what I mean? Now, based on the Burn Peak video, I know the answer to this question. No one would ever want to fucking steal it, because it's basically just an elaborate way of killing yourself. Also, it weighs like 2,000 pounds. It's apparently extremely heavy. It's not actually 2,000 pounds, I'm exaggerating, but this thing is like Thor's hammer. Like, it is very fucking heavy, apparently. So maybe that's a part of the anti-theft technologies. It's so heavy, no one would actually want to carry it away. They'd be too exhausted.
An intelligent motion detector activates when the bike is parked. It sounds an alarm and notifies you when someone tries to move your Revo. But we didn't stop there. An integrated GPS also anchors the bike to its parking spot and lets you track its location in real time. Your Revo is yours and yours alone.
In fact, it's not even yours to begin with, because a lot of people never got the Revo that they thought they had paid for through the crowdfunding. Also, I love the idea that it sounds a fucking alarm. Step away from the Revo! We have contacted Judge Dredd. You will be executed. Step away from the Revo.
That raised over $6.7 million on Indiegogo before the company up and vanished, leaving everybody who ordered one without a bicycle or asking for a refund, except for the customer who bought this bicycle. He sold it to me on eBay at a loss after seemingly not riding it at all.
Which is why that eBay seller is probably still alive to tell the tale, because he didn't ride this fucking thing. This is a story as old as time. It's just so standard, unfortunately, where a crowdfunding campaign is extremely successful, rakes in tons and tons of money, oodles of cash, and then the product either never gets delivered, somewhat gets delivered but not what was advertised, or, in a case like this, the company and the people behind it, they just poof out of existence.
From what I can find, of the 2,700 people who ordered a Revo hubless bicycle, only about 150 actually got them delivered before everything fell apart. Today, the comment section's full of would-be customers desperately trying to contact Revo. And if you visit Revo's social pages, it's just more of the same. But their website is truly damning, a GoDaddy parking page. That's an obituary if I've ever seen one.
Well, let's not jump the gun here. Hold your horses. Just because they haven't maintained the website doesn't necessarily mean that they just left. Maybe they're planning a huge comeback and they wanted people to be privy to the fact that the hosting isn't paid for anymore. Because they're doing the Revo 2.0, baby. This time, no wheels. It's going to float with just dreams. And that's all you need.
So right now the motor is not on, and with great difficulty I am pedaling it. Can you believe how loud it is?
How would that ever even make it into the hands of someone that put money into this project? That is embarrassing. That shit sounds like an Aztec death whistle. That is shockingly loud. Lawnmowers are quieter. Even just setting aside the dump truck sound that it's making, it's apparently very hard to pedal. Which is the number one thing bikes need to be good at. Pedaling. You know, using it like a bike. That's actually step one, and they fucked it up somehow. They failed on that front. How would this ever make it past testing? I don't get it. I guess they were really just banking, putting all their eggs in the basket of that, like, pedal assist feature, but most people who are going to buy this bike are cyclists. They're going to want to pedal it. That's like the whole point of riding a bicycle. I recognize it's an e-bike, so it's a little different, but I still don't think people want it to just be like a fucking electric scooter, but with the option of miserably pedaling it and burning out your fucking quads.
Oh, the second you start pedaling this thing, you start noticing a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna try and break it down. Let's start with the wheels, because I think that's a lot of where it's stemming from. any bike, even e-bikes, they just roll, right? As soon as you stop pedaling, it just rolls on forever. It's like gliding. You just feel the resistance every step of the way on this thing, whether or not you're pedaling. Look at this.
Get some WD-40 on that bitch stat. It's a wheel that can't even function as a wheel. They reinvented the wheel and made it worse. So it's airless. It's an airless tire, which already I think is just kind of silly. Like, you just have hard rubber around this fucking donut that's not ever going to feel good at all. You're just going to be absorbing all of that impact on it. I don't know how they wouldn't have known that. Like, surely somebody hopped in the Brazen Bull, right? Like, somebody at the Revo facility must have tested this to some degree. Like, they clearly had engineers working on it. They did make some. So there was a team. It wasn't just, Goober in his garage put this together with toothpicks and, a stick of gum. So how the fuck did it end up like this?
They even advertise its lightweight core. This is one of the heaviest bicycles I've ever picked up in my life. They say it's like 70-something pounds. I think it's heavier. And I'm gonna start applying my brakes right here. Let's see how long it takes me to stop. That was a full-on emergency stop. I had both of my entire hands on the brake levers, gripping them as hard as I could, and it could barely stop the bike.
It looks more like you're riding a missile than a bike. It doesn't really emergency stop very well. It weighs 70 pounds plus, potentially. Yeah, I mean, that's just not super safe at all. Even just setting everything else aside that makes it horrible, this is certified unsafe. It's cycling on ultra nightmare mode. Again, this is another thing that has me raise an eyebrow wondering what the fuck they were even doing when making this, because stopping a bike is pretty important and it needs to stop pretty quick, because things move pretty quick out in the world. I feel like that would have been a problem they were privy to, like, hey, can't really stop super efficiently. So, like, let's say your pedal assist is getting a little out of control and you're going a little faster than you want to be coming up to an intersection. Well, you start engaging the brakes, it's not stopping in time, bang, now you're in the road and you're fucking sitting duck.
But it's a terrible e-bike too. Let's examine this and see if it's something that could ever be repaired. Yeah, listen to that. It's like there's a jump in the wheel. It's done. It's garbage.
So you already covered how inefficient it is to use it as a bike, pedaling it. So now he just tries it as a full-blown e-bike, and it immediately fails that test too, because the first little bump in the road there that it hits destroys the back wheel. So he spins it, and it sounds like a bunch of marbles being poured out of a bucket, and he says that it's just kind of cooked. How could an e-bike, which they advertise in the marketing material, you might remember, cruising where the world slows down around you, how could it go that fast and not be able to handle, like, the slightest change in terrain, like from complete flat glass to maybe like a small little, bump? How does that break it?
When you push it along, the pedals move because it's just not very mechanically sound. And so if you push it fast enough, the pedals actually engage the pedal assist, and it's a chain reaction. The bike keeps going. Watch this. Okay, so you're walking your bike and you kind of jog across the street a little bit. And it kicks in. And so you might say, Seth, just turn it off. I can't turn it off. I tried holding down the power button on the battery, everything. The only way to do that is to take the battery out, but I need the keys to take it out, and I don't have the keys on me.
This is what I found to be the most entertaining part about this catastrophe of a bike. How it can just have a mind of its own. It just gains sentience and tries to run away from you as quick as possible. So if you get the pedal assist engaged while you're not on it, fucking ghost riding it, it will activate and just shoot off. So he demonstrates that in like a field, and it goes quite some distance actually. Like, it's not just like a little burst and then peters out. It goes until it falls over and can't go anymore.
Oh no.
That's fucking amazing. That is such a big discovery right there. Hats off to him for finding that, because I actually bet Revo didn't know about that. They probably didn't really put it through its paces and never actually figured that part out. But another thing he mentions is just how miserable it is to ride. It's apparently very painful, and that is something that they must have been aware of, because he mentions that they actually put in a shock absorption system to the seat, and by that I mean they did a very cheap attempt at having a suspension system to absorb some of the shock. He mentions that it really doesn't do anything to help with the ride. It is still pretty brutal. I highly recommend you watch the whole video on just how bad this thing is. For $6.7 million, not only do people not get the product, most people, but the ones that did, they were bestowed a curse from this company. Not a gift. Certainly not what they thought they were getting. So yeah, anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. The video game industry is a cutthroat business. It's not meant for the faint of heart. This ain't your grandma's crocheting class. Video game industry is brutal, and it's oftentimes overlooked how strong and how noble the CEOs are at the upper echelon of the food chain. Those are the real heroes. Firefighters, second fiddle to video game industry CEOs. They are beacons of strength that we can all turn and aspire to. We get to suckle that sweet bosom they provide us with, and they're able to make the difficult choices that us mere mortals couldn't even fathom. Because in video games, you're only ever left with two options. Either one, you release a game that flops, loses a ton of money, and you're forced to lay off a ton of employees to recoup some of that loss. Or two, you release an extremely successful game, smashing sales records, smashing expectations, and then you're forced to lay off a ton of employees because you can get some more profit if you do. You can squeeze a little bit extra pennies out and make a more strong bottom line. Again, just like the Sith, the rule of two. In video games, it's either get laid off because the game wasn't financially successful, or get laid off because the game was financially successful. Tough choice. And that's exactly what we just saw from Marvel Rivals today. Everyone's talking about it. Of course, I'm going to yap about it. I love the game. I have been enjoying the shit out of the game. I've been kind of taking a little break on it. I've been playing more Path of Exile and Rainbow Six Siege, but I still do love the game. And today, I was very excited because they released the gameplay trailers for The Thing and Human Torch, as well as a couple of other announcements that were pretty hype. And both those new characters look amazing. And then, kind of like giving a dog a pill and peanut butter, it gave us the goodies and then fed us the medicine, because turns out they laid off the entire North American division of the Marvel Rivals team. At least that's what the headlines are saying. It's not entirely clear everyone that's been laid off, but bare minimum we know for sure a game director that worked on Marvel Rivals as well as some level designers have been released. There are claims that some of the others were responsible for R&D work, but again, that's still not entirely confirmed as of right now. But anyway, let's go through the LinkedIn post here from Thaddeus Sasser. This is such a weird industry. My stellar, talented team just helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games, and we're just laid off. Thaddeus is one of the game directors for Marvel Rivals. He is not like the sole director. He's not the preeminent god of Marvel Rivals. He's not, fucking Stan Lee to this game or anything, but he was still one of the directors of the game in a division of it, which is still unclear exactly everything they were responsible for, but regardless, they did play a role in the development of this game that is being enjoyed by hundreds of thousands of players every single day. You know what I mean? So it's still a pretty substantial position, I believe, from everything I've seen at least. And now he and his team have just been fucking slapped, thrown away like dirty laundry here. So he seems pretty upset, rightfully so, because you usually don't expect when your product is so good that you helped build, you don't really think that you're going to be the one on the chopping block, because, I mean, logically, that doesn't really check out. That doesn't pass the smell test. Hey, this thing is doing so well, we're going to celebrate by spitting in your face, get the fuck out, leave. Like, that's not something a lot of people expect, except in the video game industry. Because in the video game industry, all bets are off. There's no fucking telling who's going to get, flushed down the shitter. The only people safe are the CEOs, like the Ubisoft CEO, who is beyond brain dead.
Somehow, the dumbest people on the food chain of the video game industry are the ones that get to keep their jobs, not the ones that actually build good shit. It blows my mind, really. And even if the majority of the people that were let go, and even if his team was primarily responsible for R&D, it's still just such a bad look to release them at the height of the game's success. Also, if they were only there for R&D, why were they permanent hires? Maybe I'm a little unfamiliar with the way things work at this level of game development, but typically I feel like if you're just going to have them as temporary workers on your project, they'd be contract workers as opposed to full positions. You know what I mean? But that might just be my naivete in the AAA gaming cesspool. And that has been a big discussion around this. Like, if they're all primarily focused on R&D, well, the game's fully out, so you don't really need that many devs still working around the clock on the title, because now the game's already out. You've already built the foundation. Now it's mainly about, developing new characters or new skins, that kind of thing, new maps or even new game modes, which some of them that were let go were level designers, so you could still use that expertise. They help design the levels. You're going to need more levels going forward. It can't just stay with the same ones that are in the game right now forever. Who knows, though? Maybe they were level design support, and they feel like they don't need the supporters anymore, so they're going to cut the NA branch off and just do everything in China. It's still a little too early to tell, but the LinkedIn post continues, "Oh well, times are tough all over. Let's find these incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right?" And then he name drops someone named Gary McGee, who is a technical designer currently working on level design for Marvel Rivals, assumedly. And then he mentions, "A lot of our time on the project was spent as a sort of R&D branch, coming up with new level design mechanics, gameplay mechanics, and so on." And then mentions Gary was a key part of those efforts. So he does directly say a lot of their efforts was spent on R&D, and then lists gameplay mechanics and levels. Two things you're going to still need even past the R&D stage as you release more characters and more maps. But I think this is really one of those things where they're trying to save on costs, where maybe too many cooks in the kitchen. We don't need the North American branch of Marvel Rivals. We'll just do it all in China. So then they cut the team loose. They helped build it. The game is built and it's fucking crushing it. So now let's save a little money in the height of our success by getting rid of the NA branch. Another individual let go today is Jack Burrows, level designer for Marvel Rivals. "Hey folks, well, just got laid off from my job working on Marvel Rivals with NetEase. Was an enormous pleasure to work with my American coworkers who joined me in this sad culling. Just couldn't dodge that big boot, I guess, no matter how big the success of the gig. So now I'm seeking a new role and would appreciate your support. If you hear of any opportunities or just want to catch up, please send me a message or comment below. I'd love to reconnect. Open to work. # you can't win them all." What's interesting is they did win it all. This fucking slammed Overwatch into the dirt. It took it, gave it a swirly and a wedgie. This is the top dog in the hero shooter genre, and they still fucked them in the face for no reason to some of the people that were helping with R&D at the very least, which is a crucial component of making a game in the first place, by the way. But it seems like the positions were beyond that. Like, level design is not something you one and done. You're always going to need some level designers. But maybe they already have a ton at NetEase in China, so they're like, okay, we're getting rid of all this slack over there in America. But either way, it's such a bad look. Now there's a big blemish on the success of Marvel Rivals. And Overwatch, like, they've already announced some big game changers coming to Overwatch that people are actually looking forward to. Overwatch can do something incredible here by just hiring this exact team to work on their game for them. Not only is that a PR fucking grand salami, people would go ballistic for that, but this team did prove that they can do good work. Again, we don't know exactly everything they're responsible for, but just even being tied to Marvel Rivals at this level is just a good thing to have on your resume. That's a fucking chunky one. So it'd really be a win-win for Blizzard as they're desperately trying to get Overwatch back into the conversation of being like a prominent game. It'd be good PR win because people would like to see some talented game developers get back on their feet here in the industry, like in a genre that they're clearly very good at working in. And it'd also probably just be good for Overwatch in general because, I mean,
they worked on Marvel Rivals, and right now that's the bigger, better game. So, to me, it seems like a no-brainer if you're Blizzard. Apparently, the team's not very big either. I've seen reports that it was 6 people, roughly like around 6 people that were laid off. That was the whole NA branch for Marvel Rivals. So it wouldn't even be like an extremely expensive endeavor if Blizzard wanted to hire all of them for Overwatch 2. I think it might be worth it. I think that'd be kind of a power move. But anyway, I still find this to just be trash. I still just do not like this. The video game industry is in such a bad spot. You can't even have a successful game without also losing your job, apparently. It just doesn't make sense. And I know it's not exclusive to the video game industry. You see this a lot, especially in Hollywood. Hollywood does this from time to time where something is an extreme smash success, and some of the people that brought it to life get fucking scraps. They get morsels, less than that sometimes. So I know it's not exclusive to video games, but we are seeing it in a big way for this industry. It is happening all the time. So, not the most positive news coming out here for Marvel Rivals, which is a real shame. And I just want to talk about it a bit. That's it. See ya.